Oh, it's that time again, everyone. As I try to, again, getting in wired hell, where I'm just like, oh shit, I just DC'd my DualShock controller a little bit, then replugged it by itself in while I'm trying to, like, get my mic figured again here. Anyway, hi, hello, making sure we're all set to go here a little bit. Hope everyone is having a decent Friday. It is the beginning of the Freaky Weeky yet again. Work week was a little bit smoother this week, after the Hell Week last week. A little bit. Still had, like, some bits here and there I'm just like, oh god, help me. But still was able to get through it. It's like, oh, thank god, fucking... There's, like, maybe one more day in the beginning of next week where I'm just, like, a little worried about. But after that, we should be okay-ish for, like, a normal streaming routine. Kind of, like, Monday, Wednesday, weekend streams a little bit and stuff like that, so... But yeah. Yeah, let's go and jump into it, shall we? Just get right into it here. Gotta do a little bit of talking once we get into this, so... Well, let me do the freaking, There we go. Hi, hello! Hello. It is me, Laguo Jadeheart, your favorite Little Fish Band VTuber. We are back at it again, fixing to do another visual novel reading stream series, oh boy. The last one we covered was Tsukihime Remake. Had a really good time reading through all that. And probably a good time to mention this now. Because yeah, a month after the fact that we streamed all of the Arc Raid route and the CL route. And I only learned like a month after the fact where there was a streaming guideline that Aniplex put out, like when the game released or whatever, that I think is still prevalent to this day, is they said it's like, do not stream the CL route. And it's like, whoops. So I'm going to play this extremely cautiously, because if you have noticed on the YouTube channel, they don't show up on my YouTube channel, like the CL VODs specifically. You can still watch the Arc Route VODs and stuff like that, but here's the way that I'm approaching this, because it's not on like the main feed. The CL VODs are unlisted. You can still watch it if you have the links, if you have the playlist. In fact, like when this gets uploaded to YouTube, I'll probably put a little like description link in the little link in the description if you want to check out there and stuff like that and shit. So yeah, that was like whoops a little bit, like fucking oh okay. Had I known, I would have like maybe hard pivot like streaming like the original Tsukihime in that case. And it's just like, oh my bad. Because yeah, I should have like taken a hit there, where like because we're playing this on PS5, there's like a little pop-up where just like screen shares turned off or whatever. I didn't really pay no attention to it because I thought it was just the usual like fluff. Like if you're playing this on Switch 2, you would not see that message a little bit. But nope, it turns out they didn't want you to stream that, and respectfully, I can't really say I agree with that like guideline a little bit. Like maybe when the game first released, sure, whatever. Kind of at like Atlas Persona 5 2017 of you a little bit, but for what it's worth, like just looking like a lead YouTube or whatever, it seems like most people that like have footage upload or whatever are fine for the most part. But still, I'm playing this very cautiously, where they're unlisted. You can only watch it on like the playlist link that'll have in the YouTube description and stuff like that. If there's a chance that any Big Daddy Aniplex sees that, and they tell me, it's like, no, delete this or private it, or I'm deleting your channel. I'm like, okay. That being said, though, for like this next little avenue we're getting into, because yeah, we're doing like another Type Moon, a little joint. You can tell from the title, description, everything here. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, like looking at things, they did say that you can stream everything in this visual novel we're about to cover here. The only thing that they would advise is maybe turn off the audio for like the opening, ending, because the usual anime music and stuff like, which is fair enough, very fair. There's a good old like copyright shenanigans going on there. Something I probably should have done when we were streaming Tsukihime Remake, because I kind of let that shit fly. And like if I was making ad revenue off that on the YouTube VODs and stuff like that, I probably should have done something about that. But again, tis what it is. But yeah, I'll at least do it for this year because I don't want to make people upset at me. I'll be like, oh fuck, I have a gun pointing my head a little bit, getting ready to cover this a little bit. And I should probably mention as well, because yeah, we're playing the remaster version of Fate Stay Night here. I imagine there is a patch you can find. That patch is in the HC and stuff like that. I'm not doing that. I am already tempting fate, haha. With like the CL route stuff in Tsukihime Remake. I am not, like, I imagine you could get some stuff or whatever and shit, but it's like, no, I'm not. I really don't want to do that and just like, oh fuck, my channel, everything about me is gone because of like a dick going to the goo. Like. So yeah, we're pretty much playing like the default remaster that they released like some bit ago, like a year ago I want to say, and shit like that. And pretty much like just looking at things like this is like Deco 2 to play and shit like that. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that here. So yeah, gonna go into like the perfect like music cue here and shit like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're hopping into here. So yeah, let me go and boot up the game here. We're playing this off of Steam, by the way. Hopefully this will show up on the thing. Let's see. Yeah, audio is playing, but not showing up with the feed yet. Come on. Come on. There you go. Type Moon logo. Yeah, this game's work of fiction. Names, groups present in this game are either product of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. There's no actual person or groups living or dead is purely coincidental. Okay. Yeah, so the visual novel just starts off with the prologue here. I kind of like boot this up beforehand to make sure things are working, whatever, and stuff like that. So there's like a little thing here for this where it's just like, yo, you want to like resume? It's like, yeah, sure. And yeah, this is where it like starts off when you first open up the game here and stuff like that. You know, we'll just go and start right off it. Why not here? Well, I'll talk about my history of Fate later and shit like that as I ease into it here. So. The tip of the spear was like a flash of lightning. A spearhead thrust to skewer the heart. Even attempting to evade it was pointless. It was but a flash, too swift for the human eye to follow. And yet, moonlight swept in to save me from the strike that threatened to end me. The sound was beautiful, like the tolling of a bell. No. Truth be told, the sound hung over me, heavier than an iron weight. This beauty had little to do with aesthetics. The stark armor wrapped about her was like the frozen night itself. The ring was not in itself pleasant. It was a sound of steel. But the night herself was beautiful enough to make it into the chiming of a bell. Or chiming of a bell, fucking... Hello. She said the thing there a little bit. It's cut off, but she's also doing like the pose a little bit. Her voice resonated in the darkness. And there we go. Yeah, indeed, the pact was sealed, just she chose to serve me. I'm sure in that moment that I swore to save her. The moonlight cut through the darkness. As if in imitation of night, the storehouse regained its former calm. Time had stopped. The vision before me had lasted less than a second. Be that as it may, I will always remember the sight of her, as clearly as if it were still happening now, even if I fall into the depths of hell. The faint slant of her profile, her serene, divinely green eyes. I was thinking like the one like Blue Sky post saw a little bit where just like people be riding like fall in love with a woman or whatever, and like this is a picture of like Natsu with like Fate and like Tsukihime a little bit. And it's like I don't remember the full like quote of it, but I remember just like going like hee at it. If I remember, I could have like said a thing beat for beat here, but I don't. But that made me think that a little bit because he does write like that kinda. For a moment, time stopped. And her silhouette, draped in blue, swayed in the wind. I was struck by the pale blue glow. Her hair, as fine as golden thread, was bathed in moonlight. fate. This happened 10 years ago. I see someone who takes me back. He's tall, with chiseled features. I never know him to crack a joke. He ruffles my hair affectionately. No, that's not what this is. It's more like he's grasping my head and working like a stubborn jar lid. Maybe doesn't know how to control his strength. Maybe he's just trying to open me up like a fucking jar of pickles, right? That's only to be expected. It's the first time he's ever done something like this. It's time for me to leave. You know what to do next. I answered yes in a somber voice. He nodded once, withdrew his hand, and stood up. That's all. Had I known this would be the last time we would ever see each other, I would have done my best to make him laugh with the perfect joke. I've been practicing punchlines in private, in hopes of finally seeing a simple crack that stony face. If I have one regret, it's that I never got to tell him any of my jokes. I hate when that happens. Get the association in your debt before you become an adult. Any decisions after that, I leave up to you. I'm sure you'll manage on your own. So he said, but I bet he was worried about me. He told me about our family's heirloom jewels, the gems passed down to us from our grandmaster, and how to manage the underground workshop. It was a rapid-fire course of subjects he'd never taught me before. Even as a child, I realized that he would probably never come home again. There was a war. Not a war between countries, but between people. But in this war, there were only 7 combatants. It might not have seemed fitting to call it a war, but having mages involved changes things. 7 mages from different factions competed, but I wasn't sure why. They killed each other using methods I didn't really understand. One of them was the man in front of me. It meant that he would kill and eventually be killed. I'm sure he felt the ticking of his life's clock even more keenly than I did. Rin. Before long, the Holy Grail will appear. It is the duty of the Tosakas to obtain it, but above all, it is a path we are destined to walk as mages. And with that, he ruffled my hair one last time and left. I never saw him again. My father/teacher was one of the masters who participated in the Holy Grail War. He never came home. I bid him farewell, as a well-behaved daughter should. I knew I was on the verge of tears, but I didn't let him show. I loved him. He was a great father, and even a greater mage. Mages are stubborn people. As far as I knew, there wasn't a more upstanding man in the whole world. As my instructor, he trained me. As my father, he loved me. So, I decided I'd accept the things he left for me and chose my own path. Rin, before long the Holy Grail will appear. Duty of the Tosakas to obtain it, but above all, there's a path we are destined to walk as mages. In the end, his final words for me were given as a mage, not a father. That's the moment I made up my mind. It's only natural for an apprentice to live up to her master's hope. That's how I, Rin Tosaka, grew up after experiencing life's twists and turns. It's been 10 years since my father went off to war. I wouldn't say I've been looking forward to this day, but I am a bit on edge. That goes without saying. After all, that moment which was burned in my memory 10 years ago will soon be upon me again. Ooh. January 31st, I'm assuming. Yeah, January 31st. You're awake, we time to go to school. I hear something. Ring, ring. The noise doesn't stop. It's such an infernal racket, it's almost as if it were here to avenge my father. Curious if like the original like maybe not the original like Dojin of Fate Stay Night, but I'm curious if like it did have voice acting here and shit like that. I imagine like some version after that released afterward and stuff like that did have this voice action shit, but thing is it means I get to like read out loud less here. Like, oh fuck my voice. Like, you know. I wish it just let me sleep a bit more. In fact, it should. I stayed up into the early hours deciphering my father's will, and I used a hell of a lot of magical energy to do it. I'm totally exhausted, body and mind. Ring, ring. The alarm clock is deaf to my complaints. What kind of machine makes a noise that seems like its sole purpose to remind you that you're late? True, but there's a time and place for everything. No matter how much of an overachiever I am, I should try and make it to school on time at least for today. If only slightly. I do this sometimes. It's such a trap. Like, like, what is the point, you know? Doesn't that sound off? I peer at the alarm clock through sleep-heavy eyelids. The hands point to 7 o'clock on the dot. I usually get up at 6:30, which means I'm completely used up my safety margin. Oh, even worse, we're just like, oh shit. Like, speaking of which, why is my brain so slow in the morning? I glare at the alarm clock for several seconds. I shove the alarm and climb sluggishly out of bed. My music here a little bit. Yeah, like starting off another protag in a mansion a little bit. Just like Tsukihime. The freaking privileged over here. Like, the morning chill bites at me as I cross the hallway and enter the parlor. This is the final 7 a.m. in January. Winters in Fuyuki are relatively warm, but the mornings here are cold as anywhere. Even at home, my breath mist white. It's that much colder without anyone else living here. I turn on the heater and go wash up. Single living is so inconvenient at times like these. If there was someone else here to wake up before me, then the parlor would already be heated. I wash my face at the sink. I run a brush through my long hair and get dressed. A chilly morning in a frigid bathroom. The only thing to be said for it is that the cold water mercilessly beats the sleepiness from me. With a final tug on the ribbon of my collar, I finish getting dressed. All that's left is have breakfast and go to school. The clock reads just past 7, so my morning rush feels a bit anticlimactic. Of course, I never do anything so uncouth as sprinting to school. The Tosaka family motto dictates that we conduct ourselves with confidence and elegance at all times. My ancestors must have been some high and mighty aristocrats if that's why we taught through the generations. The anachronistic mansion I live in is proof enough of that. Plus, the Tosakas are a line of spell weavers who practice what is known as magecraft. It's kind of funny, just like we have Tono's I'm gonna make like a lot of comparisons like the original like Tsukihime, because yet not in like the same universe these are, but they are like linked in some ways, just of the Nasu verse and stuff like that and shit, you know? Where I'm seeing like Tosaka and I'm just thinking of like Tono, the Tono family and shit like that. It's like, oh yeah. We're not just an old family. We have an admirably storied history. In fact, I literally can't talk about it. The truth is, I'm a mage. I'm doing spells. Like, who could I even brag about that to? As the name suggests, magecraft is what most normal people would see as magic. It sounds like some supernatural woo-woo, and if you like to think of it as just wiggling your fingers saying abracadabra, that's fine too. Just think of us as people who chant weird words and make equally weird stuff happen. That said, we don't fly around on broomsticks. We don't shoot stars out of our wands either. We can do things kind of like that, but there's no point, so we don't. We're pretty much heretics who lurk in the shadows of society. We're not allowed to draw attention to ourselves, and anyone who has the time for that kind of thing would rather spend it on their research. Ordinary humans might call us magicians, but that would be wrong. In fact, there are only 5 magicians in the whole world. Magicians are what we call people who can do something no one else can. They can accomplish feats beyond the means of modern science and perform genuine miracles. Similarly, magic is the label we use for mystics, magical mysteries that can't be realized with any amount of time or skill. While magecraft, though it looks mysterious, is something anyone can do with enough time and resources. I'm a mage, and the kind of mystics I use are merely magecraft, not true magic. Confusing, I know, but that's how it works. Also, modern civilization has accepted the existence of mages. We believe in, manipulate, and study things that can't be measured, which puts us at odds with modern society. Above all, there's no point to any of what we do. You'd be so much happier just going off to normal school and becoming a normal adult than you would be studying magecraft. Human technology has accomplished great things. For the last few centuries, magecraft has been playing catch-up to the progress of civilization. Nothing is impossible for humanity anymore. Miracles that can only be realized with magecraft in the distant past have been reduced to common tools and appliances. Even so, magecraft does have its benefits. Just as there are some things only science can accomplish, there remain heights only mystics can reach. If science is racing into the future, then mages are racing into the past. I think the Osaka Grandmaster said that. Whether you're heading to the past or the future, your destination is the same. 0, or something like that. We can shelve difficult topics for now. Philosophy is for the elderly. I finish my breakfast and pick up my bag. I'm reluctant to take something so valuable to school, but it would be a waste to leave it behind. Ooh. One could even say it is on an entirely different level. I obtained the gem after decoding my father's will last night. It's imbued with 10 years worth of my own magical energy. I've been told that the Tosaka family has heirloom jewels passed down since the olden days, and this might be one of them. Tosaka mages specialize at the conservation and flow of power. We channel our magical energy into precious gems whenever we have a spare moment. Simply put, I'm the gun and the jewels are bullets. The other main thing I've inherited from my father is the magic crest engraved in my left arm. A magic crest is proof that I'm the heir to our lineage. Like all the techniques of the Tosaka condensed into a tattoo. For now, I style my pendant, my father's keepsake, in the pocket. It's 7:30. I better leave soon if I don't want to be late for school. Ooh. I weave in you into a brief foreign phrase. As a mage, I can't neglect the security of my home base. That still applies even if I've never had so much as a single burglar, lost child, or stray cat wander my home. Actually, I don't think the neighbors ever come over to say hello. I look up at the mansion that's been at my home for over a decade. Fuyuki is a strange city. One side of the intersection dividing the residential areas is filled with old samurai estates, while the side I'm on has an abundance of mansions built in European style. Apparently, a whole bunch of foreign families immigrated here long ago. I've never seen a single foreigner around. There's even a cemetery for foreigners in Shinto, the new part of the city, across the river. It was built for the generation that immigrated here. I make a mental note to ask the priest about it next time I visit the church. He's nothing if not full of boring trivia for sure. Something feels off as soon as I step outside. There's no trace of the typical morning bustle. At 7:30 in the morning, there will normally be students and workers on their daily commute. Maybe everyone slept in. It's unusually cold today, so everyone must be snuggled up in bed. Even though that were true, it's strange that there isn't a single student on the street. At this time of day, you expect to see at least a school uniform or two. And yet, for her, I'm standing at the school gate. Looks like morning club activities are just starting up. Which can only mean... Oh!
あれ遠坂今朝は一段と早いのね。やっぱりそうきたか。
With a light sigh, I turned to face the student who called out to me.
おはよう。今日も寒いねこりゃ。
The girl who addressed me so casually is Ayako Mitsuzuri. She's my classmate in 2A, and she has quite a history.
おはよう三辻さん。つかぬことを聞くけど、今何時だかわかる？
何時って7時前じゃない。遠坂寝ぼけてる？
She waves her hand in front of my face as if to ask if anybody's home. Ayako's one of my thru friends, and she knows I'm not a morning person. She's probably figured out by now that I'm still not completely with it.
うちの時計1時間早かったみたい。しかも。
Because like daylight savings happens, like oh, like of course they would. I forgot.
Drink water.
目覚まし時計はおろか、柱時計まできっかり早まってた。
What's going on here? Father must have set their clocks to go haywire once I took the pin out of the underground cellar.
遠坂
気にしないで。別に大したことじゃないから。それより、三辻さんは今日も朝練？
ねえ、弓道部は問題児も多いし、うまいのが一人減ったからね。4月の新入生獲得のために少しぐらいは見栄えを良くしとかないと。
そう。気苦労が絶えないよね、相変わらず。
他人事だからって言ってくれるわ。あ、ついでだから見ていく？遠坂が見学する分には男どもも喜ぶけど。
弓道部か。
I'm acquainted with 3 of its members. One is Ayako, the girl I'm talking to now. I barely ever speak to the other 2. Of those latter 2, there's one that actually can't explain away as simply an acquaintance. I became friends with Ayako, the club captain, because I've been watching the club from afar.
そうね。様子を見るだけなら付き合うわ。早く来すぎたからやることもないし。
よし、じゃあ善は急げ。早速行こう。
One of our school's trademarks is its well-equipped archery range. The chair of the school board has a passion for Kyoto, traditional Japanese archery, so they built a magnificent range on campus. It's kind of a waste for a high school club, to be honest.
ほらほら、まだ開始まで時間があるし、中でお茶しようぜ、遠坂。
Aiko tugs my arm, looking somewhat pleased. If I'm being honest, her brusque way of speaking is a bad habit. As Aiko said, there's no one else at the range. We sip Japanese tea that's so hot it numbs my tongue as we prepare ahead for today's classes. The hot drink is delicious in the quiet wintry archery range.
さて、単刀直入に聞くけど、そっちの調子はどうなのよ、遠坂。いい加減頼りになる相棒は見つかった？
And she used the occasion to ask me something completely ridiculous.
ほんと、いきなり本題に入るのね、あなたは。その言いぶりだと、そっちはもう見つけたんだ。
ノーコメント。
No comment.
手を沸かすまではこっちも秘密さ。で、どうなのよ。その疲れた顔を見ると脈ありって感じだけど。
こっちもノーコメント。あなたに隠してもどうせ見抜かれるか。残念ながらこっちはまだよ。綾子の方はお互いのんびりしてる余裕はないはずだけど。
そうなんだけど、私も雲行きは怪しいわ。とりあえず取り繕うことはできるけど、ことがことでしょ。この先の命運がかかってるんだから妥協するわけにもいかないし。
勝手に決めて私に負けるのも嫌？
もちろん。私にとって重要なのはあんたを任すことだもの。何が手に入るとか何を手に入れるとかは。
Who's winning the laid off here? Like, she chuckles confidently.
似た者同 同士ね、私たち。
ええ、初めて会った時に言ったでしょ。あんたとはそういう関係にあるんだって。
She did, didn't she? Kill or be killed. I'm sure that's how it'll be between the two of us. I was generally surprised to have someone say that right off the bat. Translation? Our friendship won't bloom unless we constantly trading blows. Is what Aiko was getting at. I agree with her. In the 2 years since then, I still haven't figured out whether she's my friend or my nemesis.
ところでさ、私たちなんでこんな話してるんだっけ？
なんでって言い出したのは遠坂でしょ。あんたがいつまでも彼氏がいないのは女としてどうよなんてこぼすもんだから。なら3年になる前にどっちが先に男作るかって勝負になったんじゃない。
ああ、そうだった。売り言葉に買い言葉ってやつだった。で、遅れを取った方が一日言いなりになるんだっけ？
ええ、今時子供でも交わさない約束だけど、あんたと私に限って往生際が悪いってことはないでしょ。どんな結果になろうと負けた方はおとなしく勝者に従うことになる。それを思うと私は今から楽しみで楽しみで。
Aiko snickers in delight. My goodness. Aiko Mitsuzuri is, to put it mildly, a handful. I'll admit, I'm looking forward to winning myself, so that goes for us both.
そう。けど三つりさん、楽しむのは結構だけど、目的を違えないよう気をつけなさい。勝負の内容は後先だけじゃないでしょ。
分かってるって。遠坂より早く遠坂が心底羨ましがるような関係にならないと完全勝利とは言えないからね。まあ私たちにとってはそれが一番厄介な問題なんだが、どんなにいい男だろうと好きになれなきゃ意味がない。
Aiko's sigh is heavy. From what I've heard, she's known as a bit of a misandrist. Can't put too much stock in gossip, though. That she made this bet at all means less that she just doesn't like boys and more that she hasn't found the right person. That aside...
ちょっと、私たちって何よ、私たちって。断っておきますけど、私はそっちと違って。
Are you sure? Like...
男の子を好きになるなんて問題でも何でもないわ。
ああ、それ嘘。もしくは気づいていないだけ。遠坂が男を気にかけるなんてことは絶対ないもの。今まで数えきれないぐらい告白されたくせに一つも色良い返事してないじゃない。少しでも興味があるなら付き合おうって思うでしょ。なのに断り続けるってことはあんたは男に興味がないってことよ。
発想が貧困ね。その場合すでに好きな相手がいるから断ってるって話もありじゃない？
うわ、すっごい美談。いいね、そういうの。ロマンだな。
Aiko's tone isn't mocking. She nods solemnly. She's doing the dude, fuck yes, like pose a little bit. Her side tells me that would be nice if it were true. I don't believe myself. I really can't hide anything from her.
そうね。私もそう思う。
She's right. I noticed that there's like a little bits here and there where like the voice acting will still go when you like move on the next sentence there. And shit's like, It's only when it's like if the next line's another voice thing, it cuts off, but it just keeps going. There's a blank one here a little bit. Like, how do I optimize this actually a little bit? Thinking about it, like fucking. Anyway, she's right. I know very well how cold I am.
認めるわ。私、こと恋愛に関しては素人みたい。
そういうこと。似た者同士だって言ったのは遠坂でしょ。で、この時期7時か。秘密の話はこの辺にしとこう。いつ人がやってくるかわからないし、朝になったら学生らしく振る舞わないとな。
まあ、三つりさんにもそういう世間体があったなんて意外だわ。ええ、これだけでも早起きした甲斐があったみたい。
あんたほど筋金入ってないけどね。私の世間体なんて遠坂凛に比べたら灯籠の斧ってもんよ。あんたの猫っかぶりは擬態っていうより別人格のレベルよ。別人格。
Aiko sniffs exaggeratedly. I emptied the rest of the teacup she poured me and brew a new pot.
で、遠坂はどうして部活に入らないのよ。 運動神経がないなんてざれ言は聞かないからね。私は去年の体力測定でことごとくあんたに負けたのまだ恨んでるんだから。
あら、肺活量では三辻さんに負けたわよ、私。あと
やったー、重さで3キロ上回った。
お。
って体重で勝っても嬉しくないってのよ、このタヌキ。
Aiko slaps the table.
危ない。お茶がこぼれるでしょ、三辻さん。首相なんだから道場は大事になさい。
うるさい。私は首相である前に遠坂のライバルだ。部員がいなけりゃあんたに食ってかかるのは当然よ。
Aiko side-eyes me with a huff. She has a unique idea about beauty. A beautiful woman must walk the martial path. She's always gone on about that. Not surprisingly, she's well versed in most martial arts. Kyoto was the discipline she was least skilled at, so she joined the club and worked her way up to captain. She's probably one of the top 3 people in our school you'd at least want to mess with.
あら、部員がいなければ首相じゃないなんて問題発言じゃないそれ。
問題発言なもんですか。私はお飾りの首相だから、できることって言ったら不良部員を取り締まることだけよ。私以上にしゃがりっぱなやつがいるんだから、首相としての面目なんてないわ。
そうなの？藤村先生、三辻さんは飛び抜けてうまいって言ってたけど。
あの人がそう言うんなら、そりゃ少しは自信が持てるけど、まあいなくなっちまったやつのことなんて考えても仕方ないか。そうね、藤村先生がそう言ってくれたんなら真面目に首相やんないとまずいか。
そうそう、噂をすれば影。そろそろ部員がやってくる頃でしょ。私はおいとまするけど、三辻さんはきちんと首相になりなさい。
何、見ていかないの？
見てもわからないもの。遠くから眺める分にはいいけどね。不心得者が道場にいるわけにはいかないでしょ。
Dude, she just like faded out there a little bit, fucking. Like the multi-fade out there. Anyway, just as I get up to leave, the first club members begin entering the archery range.
おはようございます。
Oh, hello.
首相。
ああ、おはようマト。今朝は一人？
はい、力になれず申し訳ありません。
ああ、いいっていいって。本人が弓をやらないって言うんなら無理をさせても仕方がない。
Aiko speaks to the first club member to arrive.
それじゃあ失礼するわ。また後でね、三辻さん。
ああ、また後でね、遠坂。
お疲れ様です、遠坂先輩。ありがとう。さくらもしっかりね。
I leave the dojo behind so as not to get in the way.
やあ、
おう。
おはよう。朝から君に会えるなんてついてるな。
Oh no. And here comes the person I least wanted to see.
おはよう、マト君。今日は早いのね。
Another Mato.
当たり前だろ。首相なんだから。早めに来ないと一年に示しがつかないじゃないか。
Shinji Mato from Class 2C grins at me. He's the vice captain of the Kyoto Club and the darling of half the girls at schools. It's mostly thanks to his looks, of course, but he's also admired for his good grades, social graces, being kind to girls, and being an overall heartthrob, or something like that. I really don't follow that kind of stuff. It's just what I hear my classmates say.
そう。ご機嫌なところ悪いんだけど、一文字抜けてるわ、マト君。大事な字だから忘れない方がいいと思うけど。
一文字抜けてるって。
幸福の福。字は違うけど響きは一緒でしょ、副首相さん。気をつけなさい。別に首相も副首相も変わらないけど、変に意識するとこだわってるみたいに聞こえるでしょ。
そうだね。今後は気をつける。ありがとう、遠坂。
お礼を言われるようなことはしてないけど、まあマト君がそう思ったのなら私には関係ないか。
With that, I turn to leave the range.
邪魔をしたくないもの。
そんなの構わないよ。他の連中が気に障るんなら締め出すからさ。ちょっと寄っていけって。
だから邪魔をする気はないって言ってるでしょ。それに私別に弓道に興味があるわけじゃないから、知らないやつのシャを見ても嬉しくないわ。
なんだよ遠坂、弓道に興味はなかったんだ。へえ。だっていうのに放課後になると遠くから見てたのはそういうわけかな。
I don't know what he's playing at, but he seems to have seriously misunderstood things.
なんだ、知ってたのマト君。
ああ、よく目があったんだぜ、僕と遠坂。しゃ声を返したかったけど一応決まりでね。車上では声を上げちゃいけないんだ。
Oh! Shinji starts closing in on me, looking pleased with himself. I see the triumphant glint in his eyes competing with that affable smile.
勘違いしてたよ。遠坂は弓が好きなんだと思ってたけど、弓道には興味がないんだろ。
I just love it, like, fades out to, like, show him just, like, change expression there. Like,
見ていたのかな。
ah, now I see. It would sound like that, wouldn't it?
離れてくれないかしらマト君。私あまり人に近寄られるのは好きじゃないし。
何遠坂。
あきれた。ここまで言ってもわからないのね。趣味じゃないけど仕方ないか。簡単にあなたにも理解できるように言ってあげる。いいマト君。私は弓道に興味がない以上にあなたに興味はないって言ってるのよ。実際あなたが車上にいたなんて今初めて知ったぐらいだし、きっとこれからも目に入らないわ。
Owned.
なんだと。
I must have touched a nerve because he tries to grab me roughly. I twist out of his reach and turn to leave.
それじゃあねマト君。自意識過剰なのも結構だけど、ほどほどにしておいた方がいいわよ。
遠坂、お前。
Shinji sounds like he's about to say something, but he keeps his temper and doesn't chase after me. The guy's all style, no substance. If he had even a little backbone, the people around him wouldn't suffer nearly so much. I take the rear entrance into campus from the archery range. It's past 7 now, but there still aren't students in the hallways. Ooh, hello.
東坂さんだ。おはようございま
That's
す。
the funny teacher, Miss Fujimura.
おはよう東坂さん。ちゃんと挨拶してくれて先生は嬉しいよ。
The strange woman pretends to sob in delight. It may be hard to believe, but this extraordinarily affectionate and happy-go-lucky woman is actually a teacher here.
先生、ちゃんと挨拶をする以外にする挨拶があるのでしょうか。
あるわよ。1年生はちゃんと挨拶してくれるんだけどね、上級生になってくると私の名字で挨拶しないんだから。
はあ、よくわかりませんけど、先生に失礼なことはしませんが。
よしよし。ああ、みんながみんな遠坂さんみたいだったらいいのにな。
With a parting wave and a see ya, Miss Fujimura leaves. Fortunately, she isn't my homeroom teacher. Miss Fujimura teaches English. Her sunny attitude belies her expert rank in Japanese fencing, kendo. In her student days, they call her the Fuyuki Tiger. That's the mystery, though. You'd think someone known as a tiger would be feared, not adored, right? Miss Fujimura cheerily heads off in the direction of the archery range. For some reason, she's the faculty advisor to the Kyoto Club instead of the Kendo Club. It's just before 7:30. I can see students doing their club activities on school grounds, but there's hardly anyone indoors. Except...
遠坂。
Hey, man. He always blurts out my name like I did something wrong every time he sees me.
あら生徒会長、こんな朝早くから校舎の見回り？それとも各部室の手入れかしら？ どっちでもいいけど相変わらず豆ね、そういうとこ。
そういうお前こそ何を企んでいる。部活動もしていないお前がこんな早くに何の用か。
ただの気まぐれよ。竜斗くんちみたいに早起きじゃないもの、私。
The student council president's handsome face darkens with suspicion. He seems to have it out for me. I really don't know why. Maybe me saying temples are so dual past is what started it.
一つ聞いておくが、最近夜遅くまで校舎にいたことはあるか？
ないわね。私が帰宅部だって知ってるでしょ、竜斗くんは。
当然だ。生徒会長を任された以上、全校生徒の情報は把握している。
そうなら私に聞くまでもないでしょ。なんだってそんなことを聞くか知らないけど、生徒会の仕事を部外者に押し付けちゃまずいんじゃない？情報収集は一人でやりなさいよ。私みたいな部外者に頼らないで。
たわけ、お前のどこが部外者だ。うちの会計の首根っこ掴んで悪さをしたのを知らぬと思ったが、このめぎつれ。
あら、人聞きが悪いわね。あれは三辻さんに頼まれて部費の割合を明らかにしただけでしょ。みんなの予算がどこに使われているか調べるなんて生徒として当然の行為だと思うけど。
なんと、うちの会計を1週間休ませた精神的ダメージが当然の行為なのか。とんでもない倫理観をお持ちのようだな、相変わらず。
あなたもね、部下の手綱ぐらいちゃんと握ってなさい。文化系ばかりひいきするのはフェアじゃないわ。
分かっている。だからこそ俺の手で不正を正したかったのだが。
Oh. Why is he not voiced? Is this mysterious man we seen in the prologue a little bit earlier with the fucking little lady knight over there? It's like, Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be... Because, yeah, I never played the original... Or, like, any... Like, this is the first time playing this version of Fate Stay Night, I should mention. I haven't played, like, the versions before this, stuff like that. I'm curious, like, how much of this is going to be updated, like, art and stuff like... Because I imagine these portraits are updated to an extent and stuff like that. Because Mr. Orange Hair over here looks a little bit more different than the CG we've seen earlier and stuff like that. Anyway, it's fixed, he say. Just then, an unexpected visitor makes his presence known. Emiya. That's so funny, he's not... I wonder why. Don't worry about it. Where's the next one? We don't have much time. If it's completely broken, I can't fix it. It'd be easier to buy a new one. Alright, I'll try. Beckoned by the other student, the president leaves. I'd stopped thinking during the sudden turn of events. The other boy, wrench and screwdriver in hand, turns as if he's remembered something. It's like, man, his arms and legs over, like, good lord, he's like stanced up a little bit, like. You're early today, Tosaka. He awkwardly mutters and leaves. Okay, bye. Was that supposed to be a greeting? The president and student called Emiya walk off into the distance. That would be Shiro Emiya from Class 2C. How do I put it? The wrench looked right at home in his hands, but I'm not sure if it's because it makes him look tough or handy. At 7:30 in the morning, there's nobody else in classroom 2A. I take a seat at my desk and flip through my math workbook. There's still 30 minutes until morning homeroom. I got time to kill until my classmates start arriving. The classroom is lively as lunch break begins after fourth period. My school has a cafeteria, so only about half of the students stay in the room. It's mostly girls that stay behind. The girls think the cafeteria is a bit too liberal with the seasoning, so... Are you an actual person, or because you have like the most NPC looking design I've ever seen? We girls tend to enjoy our lunches as a group.
ありがとう三枝さん。けどごめんなさい。私今日は学食なんです。今朝は寝過ごしてしまってお弁当を作る余裕がなかったものですから。あ、いや、そうなんですか。ごめんなさい。そうとも知らず呼び止めてしまって。私余計なことしましたね。
Segusa looks guilty at her feet. Among the refined and well-behaved students of Class A, she's the most demure. For some reason, she's really nice to me.
余計なことだなんてそんなことはありません。今日はたまたまだから気にしないで。また明日これに懲りず声をかけてください。
I want to read over this, but the voice is still going. It's like, oh shit, I shouldn't interrupt it, you know? Like, I'm probably gonna have to want to like get a schmoove on things, but still, we'll let it rock. I let her down as gently as I can and offer a genuine smile. Perhaps my smile made her feel better. Segusa turns back to her table, looking relieved. She's adorable. Yukika Segusa isn't drop-dead gorgeous, but her smile always puts everyone around her at ease.
そうなんです。なんとかごまかしてますけど、本当は寝ぼすけなんですよ、私。部活だって朝起きられないから入ってないんです。
Segusa somehow maintains an elegant air even when startled. Watching her reaction is always so calming, but that doesn't mean I have time to just stand here and talk. If I keep a conversation with someone so disarming, the real me is bound to show herself.
それじゃあ食堂に行ってきます。三枝さんもごゆっくり。はい、遠坂さんも。
Segusa and I exchange some graceful greetings as she returns to her friends. I see that she's eating with Kaide Makidera and Kana Himuro. Oh, right. Wasn't Segusa the track and field club manager? Makidera and Himuro are the track and field club's rising stars. Makidera is a bad influence with whom I go window shopping on days off, but I don't know Himuro too well.
売られたね、ゆきっち。だから言ったでしょ。遠坂は弁当持ってこないって。釣りたかったらあいつの分も飯用意しないとね。
マキ、それは私たちも食堂に移動すればいいだけの話では？
ダメダメ、食堂は狭いんだから。弁当組が座れるスペースなんてねっての。それに遠坂と同席してみなさい。前の休みだってさ、二人で遊びに行ったのにあいつだけ得しちゃってさ。やだよね、美人を鼻にかけた優等生は。
Oh. The moon just like shifting up and down a little bit. Makidera takes hold of Segusa's desk as she continues to rant about me. Despite her foul mouth, she actually wears a kimono really well, like a picturesque Japanese beauty.
牧野氏、君の陰口は遠坂城に聞こえているようだが。
Meanwhile, Himuro's cool and solid demeanor are a complete foil to that of Makidera.
やべ、遠坂に聞かれた。ゲゲ、めっちゃ睨んでるじゃん、あいつ。
別に遠坂さん、マキちゃんを睨んでなんかないと思うけど。
睨んでんだよ、あれ。あいつは笑ってる時が一番怖いんだから。なんだよ、いいじゃんか、口ぐらい。多めに見ろよ。私と遠坂の中だろ。
Fucking backpedaling.
怒ってやっただろ。
Kaede Makidera puffs her cheeks out in the pout, waving her disposable chopsticks in the air. Would you believe that her hobby is collecting wind chimes? The world works in strange ways. At any rate, it's rude to Segusa to stare at the three of them. Caught between me and the foul-mouthed Makidera, Segusa looks like she doesn't know what to do with herself.
気にしないでいいのよ、三枝さん。
Yeah, Segusa, rather not Segusa. Almost sounds like Sega a little bit.
品物はたい焼きではなくクレープでした。無意識に事実を改ざんする悪癖。次あたりに直さないと考えますよ。
マジ怖え、あの笑顔。
Makidera holds up her lunchbox lid like some kind of shield. I bid the all trio farewell, leave the classroom, and slide the door closed. Oops.
なんだよ、大差ないじゃんか、たい焼きもクレープも。どっちも甘いの皮で包んでるんだからさ。
Makidera utters something blasphemous for a girl.
たい焼きとクレープが同じですって？
Is she even human? Are all desserts the same to her? If I'd known that her taste buds can't distinguish Floor's 500 yen very, very berry from an Idian taiyaki at Idomaya. Damn you, Kaede Makidera. I could have saved you 420 yen, blaze it.
何本気で悔しがってるんだ私。
I must still be tired from last night. The cafeteria sounds like a pain, so I'll just buy some bread from the counter and eat on the roof. I purchase my lunch and head to the unoccupied roof. Though it's different in the summertime, during the winter the roof is a convenient place to eat the
It's time to drink water.
You'll drink water on the roof?
It's time to drink water.
They do this all the time in like Japanese media, but it's like, I wonder if like fucking in the West over is like, do we have like things where we can just eat on the rooftop here? I never did. Part of me kind of wishes we did a little bit. It seems like a cool little atmosphere thing here. Like my high school had like a, like what was it? Just a an opening, an outdoor like area to eat at and stuff like that and shit. And then you got the usual indoor cafeteria. And I don't think we ever, like at most we like maybe eat in the hallways or the classroom if we had to pass for it and shit like that, but. I don't think we ever had a thing where we could just go on the rooftop here. And don't have like a thing where just like all the setup here is like, no, it's just a roof. There's nothing here. You're not supposed to be up here, whatever, you know? Like we're here, it's like, no, you can walk up here and shit. I think it's kind of neat. It's like, man. It's too cold to hang out here during lunch, but that's a small price to pay for privacy.
さて、とりあえずご飯と。
I indulge in a tomato sandwich and hot lemon drink I brought from the cafeteria. Ooh. It's a simple lunch, made all the more delicious by the fact that I can enjoy it up here in peace. I finish the sandwich and sip on the warm, lemony drink. I'm a little tired. It's hard to balance being an overachiever with avoiding human contact as much as possible. As the saying goes, one should be accomplished at both the pin and the sword. It's a point of pride, no, conviction, that I'd be the top student of the school. I decided that if I was going to be a student, then I would be the very best. I don't want people looking down on the Tosaka name. That's how Rin Tosaka came to be a perfect, flawless student. On the other hand, my occupation as a mage is dangerous, so I shouldn't associate too much with normal people. When a mage is discovered by the public, she has no choice but to eliminate witnesses to protect herself. I'd rather not resort to that. That's why I keep my social interactions purely superficial, out of necessity. I only hang out with Makidera on my days off. I turn down invitations of more sociable people like Segasa. It's difficult walking a tightrope of being the #1 student at school while making sure I don't become anyone else's #1. And sure, there are times when it tires me out and I feel like life is a real drag.
もう時間か。
I finish the hot lemon drink and stand up. That's enough sentimentality for today. Time to go back downstairs and become Rin Tosaka again. Oh!
ではホームルームを終了する。日直は日誌と戸締まりの確認を。部活動のない生徒は速やかに帰宅するように。
Class 2 his teacher gives his usual spiel and leaves the room. As far as I know, he said it exactly the same way all year.
どうさか、今日はもうお帰り？
ええ、朝方マトウ君と一見あったし、面倒になる
Run him out. I want to get out of here, dude. Like.
やっぱりそうか。マトウのやつ、今朝は特に荒れてたからさ。
そう、迷惑をかけてしまったかしら、三つさん。
別に、マトウが下級生をいびるのはいつものことだし、あれはあれでいい精神鍛錬になるよ。
そう、よかった。じゃあ、この埋め合わせはまた今度。
はいはい、これに懲りずまた寄っていってちょうだい。
I make my way home without taking any detours. My time as Rin Tosaka the honor student ends once I leave the school. The next half of the day is reserved for the other me. I have to become a mage of the Tosaka. When I arrive back at the house, I'm greeted with the pulsing light of my answering machine.
留守電なんて珍しいな。相手はやっぱりあんたか、キレ。
I have a feeling I know what he's going to say, but I better listen or I won't hear the end of it later. I press the play button and hear a familiar male voice.
私だ。分かっていると思うが、期限は明日までだぞ、リン。あまり悠長に構えられては困る。残る席はあと2つだ。早々にマスターを揃えねばならん。
The priest cuts straight to the point.
マスターの権利を放棄するというのなら、今日中に連絡しろ。予備の魔術師を派遣するにも時間がかかる。
Liar. I bet you could find a backup right away.
お前にはすでに0時の兆しが現れているのだ。さっさとサーバントを召喚し、0時を開け。もっとも、聖杯戦争に参加しないというのならば話は別だ。命が惜しいのなら、早々に教会に駆け込むがいい。
The voicemail ends. It was a clear message in simple language. If you're going to fight, then be ready by today. If you aren't, then retire, because you're in the way.
言われなくても分かってるわよ。
It's only to be expected, I guess. Today is the last day I can drag this out. Thankfully, I managed to decipher Father's notes yesterday. My battle preparations are in order. All that's left is to seize the right to participate, as he said.
聖杯戦争。たった一つきりの聖杯を奪い合う殺し合い。何百年も前から伝わってきた聖杯の儀式か。
The mages who take part in the Holy Grail War are called masters. It doesn't denote a rank of any kind. It merely describes their role. As a condition to participate in the Holy Grail War, you must summon a familiar called a servant and form a contract with them. Regardless of your skills as a mage, you are not recognized as a master unless you command a servant. There's a clear difference between servants and normal familiars. The way you summon and use them are different. Mages who plan to find the Holy Grail War prepare summoning catalysts, but
ほんと、父さんもセイバーにゆかりのものを残してくれればよかったのに。
I don't own any relics with a connection to a servant. I can summon one, yes. In fact, I could do it right now if I wanted to, as well as form a contract. This town's ley lines are under the jurisdiction of the Tosaka. I'm the heir to a clan that's administered the land for generations, so my performance will not take a backseat to some visiting mage. Although, while that is true, it'd be awfully incompetent of me to embark on a figurative voyage without a compass.
サーバントはシンボルによって引き寄せられる。強力なサーバントを呼び出したいのなら、そのサーバントにゆかりのあるものが必要不可欠なのだ。
In other words, I need some outrageously valuable item. Like a sword or a piece of armor that servant owned, or maybe a bone or heraldry related to them.
父さんの遺言に期待してたんだけどな。これはこれでものすごい切り札なんだけど。
The pendant I discovered in the basement last night is an ancient artifact of the highest quality. It's amazing all on its own. Still, it won't help me summon a servant.
いいわよ。そんなものに頼らなくたってなんとかなるわ。そもそも私以外にセーバーを扱えるマスターなんているはずないし。
Alright, I've made up my mind. I'd rather not get another earful waiting until the last minute doesn't suit right with me. Now the real challenge begins. Tonight, I'm going to summon a servant while I'm in peak condition and acquire Saber by force. Oh. Late night. The clock reads almost 2 a.m. This is the period where everything lines up. My condition peaks at 2 a.m. sharp. In terms of limits, this will be my first and last chance so I can't afford even the slightest mistake.
消去の中に大挙。大挙の陣を4つ刻んで召喚の陣で囲んだ。
How's she doing it? I inscribe magic circles into the floor of the basement. Actually, it doesn't take a major invocation to call forth a servant. Servants are invited by the Holy Grail. Masters anchor them to the world and supply the magical energy to materialize them, but the servants are the ones who choose to respond to the summons. Still, I need to keep cautious and focus. Magic circles are normally drawn with blood, but tonight I draw mine with metal jewels. I'm using up half the jewels I've accumulated over my lifetime, so I'll never financially recover from this if it fails. Fuck. It's almost 2 a.m. I finished drawing the summoning circle passed down through the Tosaka line and face it with all my being. I flick a formless switch within myself. With a click, I feel my insights turn over to something else. My normal nerves invert and become circuits for conducting magical energy. Rin Tosaka is no longer human. She's just a component in the execution of mystics. I melt from my fingers. No, I'm filled up from my fingers. The mana I'm taking in is so dense it overrides my bodily sensations. That's why I'm being destroyed at the same time I'm being filled. Running through my body is the power, mana, from the atmosphere. I convert it into a different type of energy through my body's circuits. A mage's body is nothing but circuits. Circuits connect the ethereal to the material. The mystical outcome we produce is what we call magecraft. My body grows hot. It seems like horns are growing from my forehead. It seems like wings are sprouting from my back. It seems like scales are covering my hands. Feels like there's water pulling around my ankles. Sweat drips. Stab, stab, swords pierce my body. These are the stigmata that reject my body, which becomes a circuit. No matter how gifted a mage is, we're only human. In a human body, the pain is something we must live with whatever you use magecraft. The cycle doesn't let up. Beyond the agony, deep within the trance, lies a mental state necessary for connection. Pain wriggles in my left arm. To aid the caster, my magic crest automatically begins an incantation, invading my nervous system. The mana in the atmosphere I've taken in turns to blood. It's like molten lead, while my activated magic crest resembles thorny nerves. With a crunching sensation, it creeps throughout my body like a thorny centipede. Within the hurt, I forget myself. At the same time, I can feel it taking hold of me, like I've reached where I need to go. My hypersensitive hearing picks up the ticking clock in the parlor. 10 seconds left until 2 a.m. The power filling my body is unquestionably complete. Time to begin. I convert the mana I've collected into magical energy for fixation. All that's left is to feed all that energy into the engine, the summoning circle, until my body runs dry.
この断りに従うならば答えよ。
My vision goes dark. What lies before me now is the fifth factor, said to be impersonable to the naked eye. My vision shuts off on its own, fearing what it might see.
誓いよ我は常世すべての善となるも我は常世すべての悪を敷くも汝三代の言霊をまとう七点抑止の輪より来たれ天秤の守り手よ。
That went off without a hitch. Feels so perfect. It's like I'm reeling in a whale with a fishing rod. Flawless. I'm positive I just drew the strongest card. I can't wait for my vision to return. I'll take a few more seconds, but when it does, I'm sure the strongest servant will be nowhere in sight.
はい。
Wow, it's nothing. Nothing's there. The room doesn't look different at all. I spun that much ether into this ritual only for absolutely nothing to materialize. On top of that, I think I just heard something explode in the parlor. I bolt. My head's empty at this point. I just run. I race up the stairs from the basement.
扉壊れてる。
The door to the parlor is askew off its hinges. There isn't any point in turning the doorknob. And since it won't open whether I push or pull,
もう邪魔だかな。
I kick it down and burst into the room. And the moment I enter the parlor, everything becomes clear. Yeah, boy. Men only want to do one thing. Everything is in tatters. Rubble is strewn across everything, as if something has fallen through the ceiling. On top of it all sits a man cocking his head arrogantly. He must be some kind of criminal. But something graver draws my attention. The grandfather clock, having escaped destruction, tells the time precisely. Now I remember. Right, of course. The clocks were an hour ahead today, weren't they? This is so funny. Just set it out there, just like, oh shit, I forgot my daylight savings. Like, oh, my feng shui is ruined now. Like, which means it's 1 a.m. Still a full hour left until I'm in peak spell casting form.
またやっちゃった。
I fucked up. I can complete tasks as well as anybody else, but suffer from the curse of my genetics. When it really counts, I somehow managed to bungle things on an unbelievable level.
やっちゃったことは仕方ない。反省。
I can't believe my own stupidity. Still irritated, I direct my glare at the man lounging haughtily on the rubble.
それで、あんた何？
開口一番それか。これはまたとんでもないマスターに引き当てられたものだ。
The man in the red mantle shakes his head in a show of exasperation. To add insult to injury, he mutters something about drawing the short straw. Oh, now I'm dead certain. This guy's a messed up personality. And is this a servant? I thought familiars were shapeless beings, but this is just a man. No, not just a man. Even from here, I can tell that it's brimming with a shocking amount of magical energy. Don't be fooled by its appearances. I'm staring at something that's undoubtedly more than human. It's a human-shaped ghost that's on the level of an elemental. There's no time to be dumbstruck. That thing belongs to me. I need to get my head in the game.
確認するけど、あなたは私のサーバントで間違いない？
それはこちらが聞きたいな。君こそ私のマスターなのか？ここまで乱暴な召喚は初めてでね。 正直状況がつかめない。
It was just like, yo, I just like clipped through the thing during the ritual there. That was kind of crazy. How'd you do that? Like, fucking.
私だって初めてよ。そういう質問は却下するわ。
そうか。だが私が召喚された時に君は目の前にいなかった。
本気？ひな鳥じゃあるまいし、目を開けた時にしか主を決められないなんて冗談はやめてよね。
The unidentified servant frowns and a grunt escapes his lips. Maybe he didn't like the way I said it, though he has a mixed reaction if still impressed by the logic in my words.
まあいいわ。私が聞いているのはね、あなたが他の誰でもないこの私のサーバントかってことだけよ。それをはっきりさせない以上、他の質問に答える義務はないわ。
召喚に失敗しておいてそれか。この場合、他に色々と言うべきことがあると思うのだな。
そんなのないわよ。主従関係は一番初めにはっきりさせておくべきものだもの。
The servant's eyebrow twitches. He doesn't even bother to hide his dissatisfaction with me. I wonder if it's because of the half-baked summoning.
主従関係ははっきりさせておくか。やることは知ってんだらけだが、口だけは達者らしい。なあ、確かにその意見には賛成だ。どちらが強者で、どちらが弱者なのか、明確にしておかなければ、お互いやりづらかろう。
The servant eyes me meaningfully, still relaxed in the rubble of my living room.
どちらが弱者かですって？
ああ、私もサーバントだ。呼ばれたからには主従関係を認めるさ。だが、それはあくまで契約上の話だろう。どちらがより優れたものか、共に戦うにふさわしい相手かを測るのは別になる。さて、その件でいくと、君は私のマスターにふさわしい魔術師なのかな、お嬢さん。
The servant smirks. First he destroys my house and acts like he's the king of a castle. Now he has the nerve to ask whether I'm worthy?
あなたの意見なんて聞いてないわ。私が聞いているのは、あなたが私のサーバントかどうかってことだけよ。
I repeat myself, stealing my gaze. I'm not going to back down from this condescending jerk.
なるほどなるほど。そんな当たり前のことは答えるまでもないと。実に勇ましい。いや、気概だけなら立派なマスターだが。
だから順番を間違えるなっていうの。一番初めに確認するのは召喚者の務めよ。さあ答えなさい。あなたは私のサーバントなのね。
I step forward aggressively, ready to pounce depending on his answer.
強情なお嬢さんだ。これでは話が進まんな。仕方あるまい。仮に私が君のサーバントだとしよう。で、その場合、君が私のマスターなのか。いやまあ、あくまで仮の話だが。
当たり前じゃない。あなたが私に呼ばれたサーバントなら、あなたのマスターは私以外に誰がいるっていうのよ。
I glare at this rude man, giving my seething head a moment to cool down.
そうか。まあ仮の話なんだが、とりあえずそうだとしよう。
Dude speaking in so many hypotheticals right now.
それで、君が私のマスターである証はどこにある？
The servant blithely asks, smirking all the while. He's clearly trying to goad me with these questions and lose my temper.
ここよ。あなたのマスターである証ってこれでしょ？
I show him the command spells on my right hand. Don't think I was born yesterday. Father's told me enough that I know what command spells are, at least.
納得いった？これでもまだ文句を言うの？
I thrust the symbols at him in challenge, but the lounging servant rolls his eyes.
まあ言ったな。本気で言ってるのか、お嬢さん。
His face darkens, looking even more disgruntled.
本気かってなんでよ？
その考えがだ。霊樹があればマスターなのか。霊樹などサーバントを利する道具に過ぎないだろう。まったくそんな形だけのものでマスターブルとはな。私が見たかったのは君が忠誠を振るうにふさわしい人物かどうかだったのだが。
That makes sense, but normally you think of command spells as someone asks for proof you're a master, right?
何よ。それじゃあ私はマスター失格？
そう願いたいが、そうはいくまい。霊樹がある以上、私の召喚者は君のようだ。信じがたいが、君は本当に私のマスターらしいな。
He shrugs in mock exhaustion. Ooh. Uh-oh. I reached my boiling point and I'm not gonna cool down in time.
全くもって不満だが、認めよう。とりあえず、君は私のマスターだ。だが、私にも条件がある。私は今後、君の言い分には従わない。これが最大の譲歩だ。それで構わないな、お嬢さん。
Sorry, father. I'm at my limit.
そう。不満だけど認めるくせに、私の意見には取り合わないってどういうことかしら。あなたは私のサーバントなんでしょ？
I ask in a trembling voice. After I spat over the command spells, this is my last desperate attempt at dialogue. And yet...
形の上だけはな。
Huey.
形式上は君に従ってやる。だが、戦うのは私自身だ。君はこの家の地下にでも隠れて、聖杯戦争が終わるまでじっとしていればいい。それなら、未熟な君でも命だけは助かるだろう。
He's looking down on me, declaring that he expects nothing from me.
怒ったのか？いや、もちろん君の立場は尊重するよ。私はマスターを勝利させるために呼ばれたものだからな。私の勝利は君のものだし、戦いで得たものは全て君にくれてやる。どうせ君に霊樹は使えまい。まあ、後のことは私に任せて、君は自分の身の安全を。
あ、玉来た。
Oh, big text. Ooh, she mad.
いいわ。そんなに言うなら使ってやろうじゃない。アンファン。
No more mercy. I got nothing else left for a jackass like this.
まさか。
そのまさかよ、この礼儀知らず。フィアトラーク、アイノイエナーゲル、アイノイエスケナツ、アイノイエスフェアブレヒル。
待て、正気かマスター。そんなことで霊樹を使うやつが。
It's like rage bait this, like.
いい？あんたは私のサーバント。なら私の言い分には絶対服従ってもんでしょ。
The emblem on my right hand aches. 3 command spells. They all follow. They allow mass to issue 3 unbreakable commands to their servants.
考えなさか君は。こんな大雑把なことに霊樹を使うなど。
It's too late to whine now. I didn't expect this to happen either. I want to die of self-loathing. I can't believe I just burned one of my precious command spells on a petty squabble. After that, I retreated from the ruins of the parlor and went to my bedroom. Before me stands a servant whom my command spells compelled absolute obedience from. Supposedly, anyway.
なるほど。君の性質は大体理解したぞ、マスター。
Who would call this absolute obedience?
念のため尋ねるが、君は霊樹がどれほど重要か理解しているのか、マスター。
知ってるわよ。サーバントを律する3回きりの命令権でしょ。それが何よ。
いいかね。霊樹はサーバントを強制的に行動させるものだ。それは行動を止めるだけでなく、行動を強化させるという意味でもある。例えば、私はここから遠くの場所まで瞬間的には移動できない。だが、霊樹で行けと命じれば、それが私と君の魔力で届くことならば可能となる。強制命令権とはそういうことだ。サーバント自身でも制御できない肉体の限界さえ突破させる大魔術の結晶が3つの霊樹なのだ。
知っ ってるわよ、そんなこと。いいじゃない、まだ2つあるんだし。あなたに命じた規則は無駄じゃないんだし。
確かにこれは私の誤算だった。レイジというものは曖昧な命令には効きが弱くなる。私を守り通せ、この戦いに勝てなどといった広く長く効果が続くものにはレイジの力が弱くなる。
Yeah, it makes sense.
効き目は長く続くが
The way to do it is like, yo, you gotta make it precise. You want to be very strong. If it's too vague, it's like it's gonna be weak a little bit.
逆に次の一撃を死ぬ気で放て、あのグラスだけは壊すなといった単一
Don't break that glass.
よほど強力なサーバントでも逆らうのは難しくなる。さて、ここまでで私が言いたいことがわかるな、マスター。
わかるわよ。要するに広く長い命令は意味がないんでしょ。効果も戒めも薄いならサーバントはレイジュに逆らって行動できる。そんな効き目の薄い命令をするなら絶対的な単一。
It's time to drink water.
You have time to drink water?
It's time to drink water.
そうだ。レイジとはもともと自分たちの能力以上の奇跡を起こすためのもの。それを代用の効く命令などで消費する具は許されない。君の先ほどのレイジはまさにそれだ。私が君に従うかは話し合いで解決できたことだし、仮にレイジを使ったところで全ての言動に絶対服従などレイジが100あっても実現できない。
じゃあ私のさっきのレイジは無意味って
Oops, it was all for nothing.
通常ならそうなのだがな。どうも君の魔術師としての性能は桁が違ったらしい。
Is he shocked or happy? My servant's lips twitch upward, even as he sighs.
桁が違ったって。ちょっとあなた、自分が今どんな状態なのか正直に話してみなさい。
The implication dawns on me, and I ask him eagerly.
ああ、誤算というのはそれだ。先ほどの命令では少しはマスターの意見を尊重しようという程度の心変わりにしかならない。だが今の私は君の言葉に強い強制を感じている。君の意見に異を唱えると、そうだな、ランクが一つばかり落ちるようだ。つまりマスターの意向に逆らうと体が重くなって動きづらいというところか。
My servant shrugs in resignation. So he's saying that my command spell wasn't a waste, but an actual benefit? He's still being as sarcastic as ever, so it doesn't seem to have had any effect. Besides, even if he's weakened, I doubt even 10 of me could resist if he decided to rebel against me.
前言を撤回しよう、マスター。年齢は若いが、君は卓越した魔術師だ。子供と侮り、戦いから遠ざけようとしたのは私の過ちだった。無礼ともども謝ろう。
The servant straightens his posture and gives me a formal bow.
やめてよ。確かにいろいろ言い合ったけど、そんなの喧嘩両成敗っていうか。
そうか。いや、話のわかるマスターで助かった。
So I take back my apology.
なんか切り返し早いわね、あんた。
何？誤算は誤算だったが、嬉しい誤算というやつだったからな。これほどの才能があるのなら、君を戦いに巻き込むことに異論はない。
Is this his roundabout way of saying I'm a strong master?
じゃあ、レイジュ抜きで私がマスターだって認めるのね。
無論だ。先ほどは召喚されたばかりで馴染んでいなかったが、今では完全につながった。魔術師であるのなら、契約によるつながりを感じられるだろう。
契約？
Now that he mentions it, something does feel weird about my body. Oh, it's as if my closed-off nerves are now connected to the outside. Specifically, I can feel a push of my magic energy flowing to the man before me.
そっか。サーバントは聖杯に呼ばれるけど、呼ばれたサーバントをこの世に留めるのは。
そう、マスターの力だ。サーバントはマスターからの魔力提供によってこの世に留まる。 魔力提供量は十分だ。経験的に問題はありそうだが、君の能力は飛び抜けている。普通の魔術師ならばサーバントを召喚した瞬間に意識を失っているだろう。だというのに君は活力に満ちている。先ほどのレイジといい、この魔力量といい、マスターとして君は間違いなく一流だ。
今更褒めたって何も出ないけど。
I break eye contact out of embarrassment. Well, I didn't see this coming. I know the command spells make him obey me, but still. This superhuman servant is sincerely acknowledging me as his master.
で、あなた何のサーバント？
I clear my head and return to business.
見てわからないか？ああ、それは結構。
I take it all back. He's definitely making fun of me.
わかったわ。これはマスターとしての質問よ。ねえ、あなたセイバーじゃないの？
残念ながら剣は持っていない。
No sword. I suspected as much. When all is said and done, I got the time wrong, my summoning circle didn't do its job, and my servants was spat out into some random room. It was far too sloppy ritual to summon the strongest servant, Saber.
ドジったわ。あれだけ宝石を使っておいてセイバーじゃないなんて目も当てられない。
There's many like fake grand order jokes I can make here a little bit, but I'm resisting the urge because I feel like it's too easy.
そりゃ通行のミスだから残念だけど、悪いのは私なんだから。
ああ、どうせアーチャーでは派手さに欠けるだろうよ。いいだろう。後で今の暴言を悔やませてやる。その時になって謝っても聞かないからな。
はい？
What a surprise. The unidentified servant seems to be sulking. Maybe my fixation on Saber offended him.
何？勘に触った？あーちゃん。
触った。見ていろ。必ず自分が幸運だったと思い知らせてやる。
Archer retorts with a sidelong glance. He has a really spiteful air about him, but that reaction felt somehow childish and free of malice. You know, he might be a pretty decent guy.
そうね。それじゃあ必ず私を後悔させて、あーちゃん。そうなったら素直に謝らせてもらうから。
ああ、忘れるなよ、マスター。己が召喚したものがどれほどのものか知って感謝するがいい。もっとも、その時になって謝られてもこちらの気は晴れんだろうがな。
Archer huffs even as his lips twist into a grin. Oh yeah, this one's got a round personality, alright.
まあいいわ。それであんた、どこの英霊なのよ。
Archer doesn't answer. His sardonic expression is replaced by a deepening frown.
あーちゃん？マスターである私がサーバントであるあなたに聞いているんだけど。
それは秘密だ。
は？
私がどのようなものだったかは答えられない。なぜかというと、
あのね、つまんない理由だったら怒るわよ。
それは。
There's that face again. Archer opens and closes his mouth as if he's having trouble voicing uncomfortable truth.
なぜかというと、
Oh
自
no.
分でもわからない。
Wait, what?
はあ？何よそれ。あんた私のことバカにしてるわけ？
マスターを侮辱するつもりはない。ただ、これは君の不完全な召喚のツケだぞ。どうも、記憶に混乱が見られる。自分が何者であるかはわかるのだが、名前や素性がどうも曖昧だ。まあ、さして重要な欠落ではないから気にすることはないのだが。
気にすることはない。あんたがどんな英霊か知らなきゃどのくらい強いのかわからないじゃない。
なんだ、そんなことは問題ではなかろう。さまつな問題だよ、それは。
さまつってあんたね、相棒の強さがわからないんじゃ作戦の立てようがないでしょ。そんなんで戦っていけるわけないじゃない。
何を言う。私は君が呼び出したサーバントだ。
I'm the
それ
strongest.
が最強でないはずがない。
He's so straightforward. The Crimson Knight fixes me with a gaze full of confidence and trust. My brain grinds to a halt. There's no deception in Archer's words. He sincerely gave me more credit than I deserve, even though we just met. My cheeks are burning. I'm sure I'm blushing bright red right now. Surprise attacks like this tend to be my weakness.
まあいいか。誰にも正体がわからないってことには変わりはないんだし、敵を騙すにはまず味方からって言うし。
I turn away from Archer to hide my embarrassment. I'm sure I'll figure out in due time what sort of servant he is anyway. For now, we have other priorities.
わかった。しばらくあなたの正体に関しては不問にしましょう。それじゃあじゃあ最初の仕事だけど。
早速か。好戦的だな、君は。それで敵は？
Before we can say enemy, I toss a broom and dustpan at him. What?
下の掃除お願い。あんたが散らかしたんだから責任持ってきれいにしといてね。
A few seconds pass in stunned silence. When Archer finally regains his senses, he grips the broom indignantly.
待て。君はサーバントを何だと思っている？
使い魔でしょ？ちょっと生意気で扱いに困るけど。
Archer cuts himself off. I have no intention of letting him off, and if he tries to weasel out of it, I still have a card to play.
意義あり。そのような命令はこと。
いいの？これマスターとしての命令よ。マスターの方針に逆らったら体が重くなるんだって。まあ、あなたはその程度じゃどうってことないだろうけど、そのペナルティは今を掃除するまで続くのよ。そんな状態で明日から戦っていくのは危ないんじゃない？
He stands there for several more seconds with broom in hand, grumbling under his breath. And so, the archer in the red mantle closes his eyes.
了解した。
Go to hell, master. And gracefully accepts my order. Now then, it's getting late, so I should rest. I can decide how to deal with him once I wake up. A fateful day draws to a close. No, rather my fate was shaped by this night. That makes 6, including me. Once the 7th and final master summons their servant, the Holy Grail War of this generation will begin. In the not-so-distant future, the battle I've been waiting 10 long years for is about to commence. The Holy Grail War. It's a grand ritual that's been repeated for hundreds of years. A fight to the death between 7 participants, of which only 1 can survive. It's said that Holy Grail exists in the land of Fuiki, and that a number of mages fought over it in the past. Their one and only objective was to attain the relic called the Holy Grail. However, the Grail's origins are unclear. We're sure it isn't the chalice that held the blood of God, but its power is fierce enough to be compared to the genuine article. That's right. They say the Holy Grail can grant any wish. Only one person can possess it. The Holy Grail can only grant one person, or one wish for one person. Despite that, 7 mages are needed to summon the Grail to this land. 7 collaborators to create one miracle. So, as you might imagine, it was only a matter of time before they started fighting over the Grail. Like so many conflicts, it started as a competition over property rights. The 7 mages equally used the power of the Holy Grail to summon their respective familiars, then do battle over the Grail itself. Only one mage can obtain the Grail. As a result, 7 people started as colleagues end up in a ferocious battle to the death. That's the gist of the ritual known as the Holy Grail War, a struggle for ownership between mages. The mages chosen by the Holy Grail are called Masters, who use the blessing of the Grail to acquire powerful familiars known as servants. All the cards here. 2 things serve as proof that one has become a master: the summoning command of a servant, and the mark of command spells to compel the servant's servitude. The first goes without saying. The archer I summoned yesterday, no, a few hours ago to be exact, is Rin Tosaka's servant. As for the second, a master must closely guard the command spells that control one's servant. This is probably the most critical aspect of being a master. When I summon Archer, symbols appeared on my right hand, namely command spells. Stigmata bestowed by the Holy Grail upon the summoning of a servant that marked one's new status as a master. A massive amount of magical energy is compressed into these seals, whose power is fleeting rather than long-lasting. They disappear once they're used, and as their shape suggests, each mark represents a single use. In other words, one only gets 3 shots. A master who has used up all 3 command spells can no longer control a servant, and is as good as dead. Therefore, command spells must be handled with care until the very end, since they are as valuable as one's own life. It pains me knowing that I burned one right off the bat, but it wasn't a total waste, so I'll chalk it up as a win. After all, a servant could turn on his master at any time. If one command spell is what it takes to put a collar on him, then I consider it a fair trade. And that's about it for the broader strokes of this business. Once 7 servants have been summoned, the Holy Grail War will begin. Tonight's sleep will be a fitful one. I don't know when the final master will appear, but they could be right around the corner. I feel sluggish. Sorry for all the yawns, by the way, here. Still a little eepy from work. My bleary gaze goes up to the window, only to see that it's already bright outside.
9時過ぎてる。遅刻どころの話じゃない。
After a drowsy check of the clock, I make up my mind to skip school today.
体が重い。半分以上持ってかれたみたいね。これは。
Sitting up in bed, I heave a long sigh. Not being a morning person is enough to explain why I feel so dull. I think Archer mentioned something about it. A master will be out of commission after summoning a servant.
そうだった。私、セイバーじゃなくってアーチャーを呼び出したんだ。
I remember it all clearly now. I'd rather not, to be honest, but it's not as if denying the facts will let me do it over.
魔力が戻るまで1日ちょいか。今日は鳴らし運転ってことにしよう。
I drag myself out of bed. A mental boxing match rages between the outside air, which is quite warm for winter, and the comfort of my bed sheets. It concludes in a 3-second knockout against the station of going back to sleep. I check my body in the mirror. Nothing out of place aside from the loss of half my usual magical energy.
まあ、問題なんてあるわけないけど。
I review the situation. I summon the servant Archer, who doesn't have an ounce of respect for his master. To make matters worse, he doesn't even know who he is. Wow, talk about a headache.
あいつの記憶が戻るまで切り札は封印か。思い出せないんじゃ使いようがないしね。
Servants are strong familiars all on their own, but what makes them truly informable is the secret weapon they each possess. Frustratingly, Archer claims to have forgotten what his is.
まあ、火はこっちにもあるし、なんとかやっていくしかないか。
We're both in the same boat then. I can only pray to sort those memories out, but who knows how long that might take. Good grief. I've really got my work cut out for it.
あ、見直したかもこれ。
We kept like the painting over there. The parlor's completely back to normal. I thought he maybe just clear away the detritus, not the brevious, like the detritus, but the room is so spotless I can't help but be impressed. He must have felt bad for wrecking the place. I doubt he would have gone to the trouble otherwise. I guess I ought to commend him for being a more decent guy tonight.
日はとっくに昇っているぞ。また随分とだらしがないんだな、君は。
I retract my statement. There's a remorseful bone in his body.
おはよう。そういうあんたは随分とリラックスしてるよね。今を好き勝手使ってくれちゃってさ。
ない。一晩過ごした部屋だからな。どこに何があるか把握したよ。ああ、ついでだから厨房も片付けておいた。もう少し荒れているかと思ったが、なかなか気の行き届いた厨房だ。一人暮らしの洋館にしては上等だな。
I have a headache. Why do I have to put up with a servant judging my interior decoration? I thought servants all cared only about fighting. Are we sure this guy isn't defective?
なるほど。本調子ではなさそうだな。昨夜は元気だったが、睡眠をとって疲れが出たのだろう。紅茶でよければご馳走しよう。
Acting like he owns the place. Without missing a beat, Archer produces a teacup and fills with the expensive reddish tea he's been brewing. There's a lot I want to say right now, but oddly enough, I can't work up the indignation too. The way he does it all is so refined, I gotta admit he might be rather cultured.
まあいいけど、疲れてるのは事実だし、飲む。
I sit down in a chair. A teacup is placed soundlessly in front of me. I take a sip. Oh, it's delicious. I expect as much. It's my favorite Chinese tea, a spring harvest Hongcha. Don't know if I said that right. I'd be upset if it didn't taste good. On that note, I'd normally be upset if someone used my favorite tea leaves without asking. Makes me mad, but the tea was brewed so exquisitely that the pleasure it brings overcomes my anger.
ちょっと、何笑ってるのよあんた。
何、感想が聞きたかったが、その顔では聞くまでもないと思っただけだ。
I set the teacup down with a forceful thud.
もったいない。熱いうちに味わった方がいいぞ。私が気に障るなら消えている
ごちそうさま。結構よ。私は茶坊主が欲しくてマスターになったわけじゃないわ。
が。そうか。確かに私も茶坊主になったり、後片付けをするために契約したわ
I will no longer make you tea.
君がそういうのならば、これからは気をつけよ
ええ。私が求めているのは戦力としての使い魔よ。家事をこなすサーバントなんて聞いたことがないし、する必要も特にないわ。
う。特にはないとは、どういう意味かな。
別に、好きなようにとって結構よ。それより、あなた、自分の正体を思い出せた？
Archer shakes his head in a negative. That doesn't bode well. If you can't remember after a single night, then those memories probably won't return easily. There are some measures I can try today, but...
わかった。あなたの記憶に関しては、おいおい対策を考えとく。じゃあ、出かける支度をして、はっちゃん。召喚されたばかりで勝手もわからないでしょ？街を案内してあげるから。
出かける支度？いや、そんな必要はないだろう。出るのならば、すぐに出られるが。
あのね、そんな格好で出歩くつもり？どう見ても普通じゃないし、他のマスターが見たら一発でサーバントってわかるじゃない。私、自分から私はマスターですなんて言いふらす気はないんだけど。
ああ、そういうことか。それも問題はない。確かに着替える必要はあるが、それは実体化している時だけでね。サーバントはもともと霊体だ。非戦闘時には霊体になってマスターにかける負担を減らす。
ああ、そっか。召喚されたって英霊は英霊だものね。霊体に肉体を与えるのはマスターの魔力なんだから、私が魔力提供をカットすれば。
自然。我々も霊体に戻る。そうなったサーバントは守護霊のようなものだ。レイラインで繋がっているマスター以外には観測されない。もっとも会話程度はできるから、偵察ならば支障はないが、
お、便利。それじゃあ本当に他のマスターを探し出すなんて難しいんだ。
まあ。だが、魔術師は魔術師を知覚できるだろう。それと同じで、サーバントもサーバントを感知できる。優れた魔術を知るサーバントならば、遠く離れたサーバントの位置さえ把握するだろう。
Archer has it in one. Master's supposed to be capable mages. And the more magical energy the mage has, the better they are at detecting traces of magical energy. As far as I know, however, there isn't anyone else around with that degree of power.
で、あんたはどうなの？他のサーバントの位置、わかる？
マスター、私のクラスは何か忘れたのか？遠く離れた敵の位置を探るなど、騎士上がりにできるものか？
He has a point. Archer's magic energy isn't on that level. It's likely that only the magically powered caster is capable of easily locating distant foes.
わかったわ。じゃあ、とりあえず後についてきて、アーチャー。あなたの呼び出された世界を見せてあげるから。
そう目新しいものではなさそうだがね。それよりマスター、君、大切なことを忘れていないか？
え？大切なことって何？
まったく。君、まだ本調子ではないぞ。契約において最も重要な交換を私たちは未だしていない。
契約において最も重要な交換。
So he's like Archer's doing like the same pose as me on my PNG right here, kind of. Is he demanding equivalent exchange? No, that can't be it. A chance to take part in Holy Grail was already reward enough for a servant. There shouldn't be anything else left to trade.
君な。朝は弱いんだな、本当に。
Archer sounds exasperated. His oh-so-sardonic manner of speech finally gives me an idea. Come to think of it, he's never once called me by my name.
ああ、しまった。名前。
思い当たったか？まあ、今からでも遅くはないさ。それでマスター、君の名前は？これからは何と呼べばいい？
Archer sounds sulky. Oh man, he really is a decent person. I'm sure of it now. After all, there's no tangible benefit to exchanging names. Servants are forcefully bound to their masters by the command spells. While names are key to contract with a regular familiar, there's no need for master and servant to be so intimate. But it is important to Archer. He's clearly trying to establish trust between comrades in arms, regardless of the command spells.
私、遠坂凛よ。あなたの好きなように呼んでいいわ。
I answer in a clipped tone, unwilling to let slip any admiration. He'll probably just call me something impersonal like Master or Hey You, which works out just fine for me. Except... Archer chews on Ren Tosaka for a moment.
それでは、リンと。ああ。この響きは、実に君に似合っている。
He says something really forward.
リン、どうした？何やら顔色がおかしいが。
うるさい。いいからさっさと行くわよ、あーちゃん。とにかく、のんびりしてる暇なんてないんだから。
I turn on my heel and storm away, huffing. This is so infuriating. I'm not even sure why. Damn that Archer. Did he say that just to mess with me?
ありえる。こいつなら絶対そうだ。
Yeah, I'm sure that's it. Must be all part of his plan to get me all flustered. I better be careful. Gotta work with this wise guy from here on out. I take Archer outside. Fuyuki City, my hometown, is broadly divided into two halves. There's Miyama, which is left over for the village from the city grew out of, and Shinto, developing modern region across the river. My house is in Miyama, the old part. Miyama is itself split into two areas. The European-style neighborhoods originally inhabited by immigrants from abroad, and the old Japanese-style houses set against a mountainous backdrop. Both areas are situated on hilltops along the outskirts of town. The street divided into residential areas is fairly normal by comparison. How normal, you ask? This normal. This is the crossroads of Miyama. On one side lies the road going up the hill to European neighborhoods where I live. Opposite is the road to the Japanese houses, and between them is the path leading into Shinto, where my school and the shopping areas are, as well as the Ryoto Temple in the mountains. We come to the bridge connecting Shinto and Miyama. Years ago, a big train station went up in Shinto, bringing with its frenzied urbanization. They may belong to the same municipality, but Miyama and Shinto couldn't be more different. The name Fuyuki written with the kanji for wooden tree is supposedly inspired by the long riders here, which, by the by, are pretty long. Despite that, temperatures are warm. February here is only about as cold as the very start of winter elsewhere. I bet if you randomly start digging, you'd turn up a hot spring or two.
It's time to drink water.
Oh, time to drink water?
It's time to drink water.
Though of course, our temperate weather disqualifies this town as a hot spring resort location. We got an odd climate where the mild winter suddenly turned to springtime bloom come April. This is what Shinto looks like. A number of tall buildings have been erected as if in a hurry, giving the hastily developed city a distinctly artificial feel. It all happened in the last decade or so, too. 10 years ago, there was a large fire that wiped out a residential area. Someone built a bunch of glass and metal buildings on the depopulated land. And here is the center of it all.
ここが信徒の公園よ。これで主だったところを歩いて回ったわけだけど、感想は？
I ask Archer who's next to me. Of course he's invisible.
広い公園だ。だというのに人気がないのは何か理由でもあるのか？
やっぱりそう見える？まあ、ここはちょっとした曰くがあるから。
I look out over the park. You'd think that a wide open space like this would have children playing in it, even on a weekday. But instead, there are only a handful of people. The place feels dull and lifeless.
10年前の話よ。この辺り一帯で大きな火事があったんだって。火は一日燃え続けて、雨が降り出した頃に消えたんだとか。その後町は復興したけど、ここだけはそのままなの。焼け野原になって何もなくなったから公園にしたらしいわ。
Archer says nothing, but I can tell he sensed something odd, even if I can't see him.
気づいたみたいね。そうよ。ここが前回の聖杯戦争決着の地。私も事情は知らないけど、前回の聖杯戦争はここで終結して、それきり。
なるほど。それでこんなにもここは怨念に満ちているというわけか。
わかるの？そういうの。
サーバントというのは霊体だ。そのあり方は怨念、猛襲に近い。故に同じ無念には敏感なのさ。街中でも濃い場所はあるが、ここは別格だ。我らから見れば固有結界のそれに近い。
Tosaka mutters under her breath. Archer's inflection in his voice mentions an unusual bit of magical jargon. In it bounded fields, mages called them reality marbles. Reality marbles are considered one of the apexes of magecraft. They're said to be infinitely close to true magic. For the last few centuries, bounded fields have served as mages' defensive barriers. To put it in simple terms, they're like a home security system with real teeth. Bounded fields are conventionally erected on a piece of land or a building to guard against outside threats. They're merely an alteration of an area that already exists. Reality marbles, however, are something else entirely. You can think of them as a space that consumes reality itself. When a mage materializes their imaginary world, a representation of their mind, and overwrites the real world with it, we call the resulting field a reality marble. It's a large area magecraft that twists, no, rebuilds the world according to a mage's wishes.
リン、どうしたか？
おう、ちょっと意外だったから。こういう結界だなんてアーチャーのくせに珍しい言葉を知ってるなって。
なんだ、知っていてはおかしいか。
だってそうじゃない。こういう結界っていうのは魔術師にとっては禁忌中の禁忌、奥義の中の奥義だもの。アーチャーであるあなたが知ってるなんて筋違いよ。
I shoot a quizzical gaze in his general direction. In reply, I feel an incorporeal sigh.
リン、英雄とは剣術、魔術に長けたものを指す。アーチャーだからといって弓しか使えないと思うのは勝手だが、私以外のサーバントにそんな楽観は持たないでくれ。
Oof. It does make sense when he puts it like that.
わかったわよ。今のは軽率な発言だったわ。次からは気をつけるからこれでいいでしょ。
リン、ズバリ言おう。君は優秀だが、それゆえに他人を過小評価する欠点がある。成人するまでには強制したまえ。
何気に失礼なこと言うわね、あんた。
Break my habit? He's talking about me like an unruly racehorse.
いや、失礼。別にリンがジャジャ馬だと言ったわけではない。単にイメージ通りの表現を使っただけというか。
なおさら悪いわ。
My right hand suddenly flares with pain.
リン、
ちょっと黙って、あーちゃん。
The command spells on my right hand hurt. They're throbbing, almost like a dull alarm warning their owner.
誰かに見られてる。
I scan my surroundings. I mentally weave a detection web and cast it out over the park.
私じゃ見つけられない。あーちゃん、あなたは？
難しいな。私には視線すら感じられん。
ってことは、見てるのはマスターね。
I don't know who it is, but if Archer can't tell, then it must be a master. We don't have all 7 yet, but the fighting could still start at any time. Maybe whoever's watching me is up for an early skirmish.
レイジはレイジに反応する。マスターであるのなら、誰がマスターであるかは出会えば感じられるという。
ええ。けど行為の術者なら自分の魔力ぐらい隠し通せる。いくら霊樹同士が反応するって言っても、その霊樹だって魔力で発動するものよ。
厄介だな。ではこちらはいいように位置を知らせているということか。
でしょうね。まあ私だって家探しすれば魔力殺しぐらいは見つかるだろうけど。
必要ないと。
そうだって隠さなければ向こうからやってきてくれるでしょ。こっちから出向く手間が省けるわ。
Archer doesn't respond. Maybe he's irritated with me.
何よ、自信過剰はいけないって言いたいの
？I ask, a little defensive, thinking of our early exchanges. Archer mentally brushes the question aside.
君はそのままが一番強い。小物には付きまとわせてやるがよかろう。
I can feel a smirk in his tone. I'm not saying I like what he said, but it is enough for of an olive branch, I suppose. We start walking around town again. Fucking creaking my chair over here a little bit. I spend the day taking him to all the important places and even drop by some less significant spots that might be useful to know. After dinner, I make for our final stop. It's now after 7 in the evening. This is a good chance to show him that the best vantage point in the city. Oh. The wind howls. We're atop the tallest building in Shinto. The commanding view of the city makes for a fitting end to our tour.
どう？ここなら見通しがいいでしょ、あーちゃん。
はあ、将来君と付き合う男に同情するな。よくもまあここまで好き勝手連れ回してくれたものだ。
何か言った？あーちゃん。
素直な感想を少しと。確かにいい場所だ。初めからここに来れば歩き回る必要もなかったのだが。
何言ってるのよ。確かに見晴らしはいいけど、ここからわかるのは街の前景だけじゃない。実際にその場に行かないと街の作りはわからないわ。
そうでもないな。アーチャーのクラスは伊達ではない。旧兵は目が良くなければ務まらん。
そうなの？それじゃあここから家が見える？あーちゃん。
いや、さすがに隣町までは見えない。せいぜい橋あたりまでだな。
嘘？タイルって橋のタイル？
I didn't expect his vision to be as good as the telescopes I often see on rooftops. Sharp eye doesn't begin to cut it.
びっくり。アーチャーって本当にアーチャーなんだ。
リン、まさかとは思うが。
そんなわけないでしょ。たださ、あなたってアーチャーって言われには弓使いっぽくないから。
それは問題発言だ。帰ってから追求しよう。
With that, Archer goes quiet for a while, much like the landscape from up here. He's probably considering the layout of the city. I should interrupt him while he's thinking. I step away from Archer and approach the edge of the rooftop. All I can see from here are the lights below. Headlights flow through the streets, and I can make out people on the way home from work. I can't tell what kinds of cars they are or who exactly is walking. I can see them, but not clearly. It's not like how I could tell someone was watching me earlier, even I couldn't pinpoint them.
少なくとも神道を根城にしている奴が一人いる。
I squint down toward the ground. There are 7 masters in total. I don't know who they are, nor which servants are with them. At this point, every master is probably gathering intelligence on their rivals. Suddenly, I feel someone's eyes on me. There's no reaction from my command spells. I simply sense that someone else is looking at me. I peer down. People are walking on the street, but one in particular is gazing up at me as if staring at the moon. I'm not sure exactly who that is. Can't say for certain, I know exactly who. Can't believe that guy. What's he doing out this late? Archer calls out to me. Maybe he can make out my rising hostility.
別に。ただの知り合い。私たちには関係のない一般人よ。
Unable to clamp it down, I hear please snap back at him and step away from the roof's edge. Couldn't have seen me from the ground. I'm sure it was just a coincidence. I haven't given myself away. And yet, my mage side is screaming at me for allowing an eyewitness to catch sight of me. By the time I get back to Miyama, it's 9 p.m. Unlike Shinto, Miyama is mostly residential. After 9, there isn't really anyone outside, and streets are silent as if it's much later at night.
こんなところね。街の作りは大体わかった？
ん？ああ。街のことならわかる。あとはおいおい掴んでいくさ。
なら今日はここまでね。私もまだ本調子じゃないし、家に戻って休みましょう。
I start up the hill at a relaxed pace, when I notice someone up ahead.
あれ、さくら？
Uh-oh. Now would not be a good time to run into her.
リン、何を隠れている？
黙ってて。うん。あそこにいるの知り合いなのよ。今日は学校休んだし、あんまり顔を合わせたくないの。
As I answer, I keep an eye on her. In the middle of the street, there's the first-year student I know. Oh, fucking... and a foreigner I don't. They're talking. No, it looks more like he's trying to pick her up, while she'd rather be anywhere else.
リン、知り合いとは外国人の方か？
いいえ、知らない。この辺りは洋館が多いから、どっかよそから遊びに来てるんじゃない？
Even as I finish a sentence, I'm mentally telling myself off for being so soft on that girl.
あ、じゃあ、あいつ人間？
さあ、実態はあるから人間なのだろう。
そうよね。マスターでもないし、ただの血は喧嘩か。
Though even I know that she isn't the sort to get caught up in something like that.
二人とも言ったな。女は坂を登っていく。男は。
Oh. The blonde-haired man descends via the streets we came by.
それじゃああなたはここを使って。私はもう眠るけど、何か質問はある？
とりわけ重要な疑問はない。すぐに戦闘を仕掛けない君の判断は正しいよ。今夜は魔力の回復を行うべきだ。
ええ。それじゃあ明日、今朝の紅茶をよろしくね。
Yeah, really. Yeah. I'm sorry if there's like little pauses or just jumping in button presses here. I am actually just kind of like dozing off here and there a little bit. Not because I'm like it's slow burning the story right now, admittedly, but as well as just like I kind of already know this part a little bit. So, but yeah, again, it's literally just after work, after like 2 long weeks, where I'm just like, oh fuck, you know. It's like I really need to get to like some energy. I mean, like should have like prepped like an energy juice or something. It was like fuck, man. Because I am just kind of like dozing off here and there, and trying not to, trust me, and shit. Once I'm back in my room, the fatigue washes over me.
そうだ。眠る前にきれいに連絡しないと。
That knowing priest left me a message. By now, he's probably sent for the backup mage. It is my problem, but he is my legal guardian. I'm a phone call at least.
電話っと。
I punch his number into the telephone. Before long, the fake priest picks up.
きれい？私だけど、昨日サーバントと契約したから、正式にマスター登録お願い。
And there's a brief pause. Here his silence is deafening. I can feel its weight even through the earpiece.
いいだろ。ではどうする？一度こちらに顔を出さないか。君のご両親から預かっているものもある。君がマスターになった場合にのみ、成人前に伝えてほしいと頼まれているのだが。
ああ、それって父さんの遺言のこと？それならもう解読して手に入れたからいいわ。それじゃ気が向いたらお邪魔するからよろしく。
待てリン。マスターになったのなら。
No. I hang up before he finishes. If I have to listen to Kiri's nagging while I'm this tired, I have a feeling my magic energy will drain away instead of recover.
さて、これで準備は終わりっと。
All that's left is to sleep. Once I open my eyes, it'll be a brand new day. 10 years ago, my father fought as a mage in Holy Grail War and lost. Now it's my turn to risk it all for the same prize. February 2. And after breakfast, I lay out my plans for the day.
何？学校に行くだと？
ええ、何か問題あるかしら、はーちゃん。
問題はないが、しかし、それは。
Archer looks reluctant but doesn't protest. After spending a whole day with me, he probably understands now that Rin Tosaka doesn't go back on her word once she's made up her mind. I can sense his disagreement if he doesn't voice it, but I've also learned that Arch has a sincere side beneath all the sarcasm. He won't whine about a decision he's accepted. Yep, he's loyal and awkward like that. That's what my intuition says, at least, after watching him yesterday.
マスターになったからには常に敵マスターを警戒しなくてはならない。学校という場は不意の襲撃に備えにくい場所だ。
そんなことはないけどね。いいあちゃん、私はマスターになったからって今までの生活を変える気はないわ。それにマスター同士の戦いは人目を避けるものでしょ。それなら人目につく学校にいれば不意打ちされることはまずないと思うけど。
そうか。リンがそう決めたのなら私は従うだけだ。だが霊体化して君の護衛をするぐらいはいいのだろうな。まさか学校に行っている間はここに残れなどとは言うまい。
当たり前じゃない。学校に限らず外に出るときはそばにいてもらうからね。マスターを守るのもサーバントの役割なんだから。頼り。
それを聞いて安心した。信頼に応えるのは騎士の務め。せいぜい期待にそうとしよう。だがりもしもの話だがその安全な場所に敵がいたとしたらどうする？
何？学校にマスターがいるかもしれないってかて？
そうだ。確かに学び屋には生徒と教師以外は入りにくいがすでに内部の者がマスターだとしたら厄介ではないのか。
それはないんじゃないかな。この町には魔術師の家系は遠坂とあと一つしかないの。そのあと一つっていう家系は落ちぶれてるしマスターにもなってないし。
マスターになっていないと。
あのね、うち以外に魔術師の家系がいるんなら真っ先に確かめるのは当然でしょ。そいつマスターにはなってなかったし、あっちの家系の後継者にはマスターになるだけの魔力がないから無視して構わないわ。
そうか。つまりリンの通う学校にはもう一人魔術師がいるのだな。
そういうこと。だから他のマスターは外からやってくる連中が大半のはず。そんな連中が学校にまでやってくることはないでしょう。
まあ今の段階ではな。だがり何事にも例外は存在する。もし学校に君が知らない魔術師がいたとしたら。
だからいないってば。
It will never happen.
他の同業に敏感なの。1年も同じ学校にいたらね、どんなに隠してても魔術師の存在は感じ取れる。断言するけどうちの学校に魔術師は2人しかいないわ。
Isn't that Proby?
そのうちの1人が私で、もう1人はマスターになるだけの力がない魔術師見習いなの。わかった？アーチャーの用心はただの杞憂よ。そんなこと絶対。
だからもしもの話だ。物事には常に裏目が存在する。本来ありえざることが起こるのもまた運命だ。もしそういった事態になった場合、私に八つ当たりをするのだけは思いとどまってほしいと言っているのだ。
Archer chuckles dryly. His smug attitude already makes me want to do exactly that, but I'll be late for school if I let him keep pushing my buttons.
そんなことあるわけないじゃない。もしもの話っていうのは起きないからもしもの話なのよ。もしそんなことになったら、その時は私の見通しが甘かったってだけなんだから。
よし、確かに聞いたぞ。
I'll remember that.
それでは行こうか、リン。君の学び屋まで30分。そろそろ出なければ間に合わない時間帯だ。
驚いた。もしもの話って本当にあるのね。
ああ、私も驚いている。いや、何事もケチをつけておくものだな。思わぬところで役に立った。
Oh, that was me. I thought it was like Archer still talking there. And this is our exchange the moment we pass through the front gate. It's almost time for homeroom, so there are students on their way to class. All around us. Arch and I stand still like a pillar amid the swirling human sea.
空気がよどんでるどころの話じゃない。これもう結界が張られてない。
完全にではないが、すでに準備は始まっているようだな。ここまで派手にやっているということは、よほどの大物か。
とんでもない素人ね。異常を感じさせる結界なんて三流だもの。やるんなら仕掛ける時まで隠し通しておくのが一流よ。
で、君はどちらだと思う？リン。
さあ、一流だろうが三流だろうが知ったことじゃないわ。私のテリトリーでこんなゲスなもの仕掛けたやつなんて問答無用でぶっ倒すだけよ。
I let out an indignant huff as I crossed through the grounds. As a mage, there's no sugarcoating it. I won't be satisfied till whoever made this battlefield gets what's coming to them. I'm on my way back from the music room after second period. I spot a first year floundering in the hallway. She looks like she could use a hand with the large stack of documents she's carrying.
手伝うわ、さくら。
Hello, oomph.
どうさか。何、プリント？世界史って言ったらうちの担任じゃない。クズキのやつ、女生徒に使いをさせるなんて何考えてんだか。ほら、半分貸して。はい、ありがとうございます、先輩。いいっていいって。それじゃあこれ、さくらのクラスまで？くずき先生のところです。誤字があったから回収するって言ってました。納得。くずきは融通きかないからね。一つ誤字があったぐらいで試験を中止させるやつだった。試験って学校の試験をですか？そう、あれは去年の中間試験だったかな。みんながガーッとマークシートを塗りつぶしてる時にやってきてね。
Man, what a cool guy.
難しい問題ではなかった。よって試験は中止。後日改めて行うってあの調子で淡々と言ったのよ。なんかくずき先生らしいですね。それ先生、ものを教える立場に間違いは許されないって人ですから。くずきのは度が過ぎてるけどね。さくらもそのうち思い知るわよ。くずきの堅物ぶりったら岩か山かって感じなんだから。遠坂先輩、くずき先生のことが好きなんですね。先輩がそんな風に言うなんて珍しいです。そう？まあ確かにくずきはもうちょっと柔軟性があればなって思うけど。
Though he's alright just the way he is, ultimately. The faculty at our school is made up of both really nice teachers and some real scary ones. It's a delicate balance that Mr. Kazuki's an important part of. He needs to stick to the carrot.
まあ2年になればもっとくずきと顔を合わせるようになるわ。そんなことよりさくら、ちょっと聞きたいことがあるんだけどいい？何ですか先輩。昨日の話なんだけど、さくら見かけない外国人と話してなかった？見てたんですか先輩。たまたま。それであれ何だったの？知り合い？いいえ、それがよくわからない人だったんです。あの人、道に迷ってたみたいでした。いろいろ聞いてくるんだけど、何を言ってるのか聞き取れなくて、
And that's when she slipped away.
そっか。ごめんなさい。少しだけ気になったから。いえ、構いません。ここまででいいです先輩。あとは届けるだけですから。そう？それじゃあまたね。
I returned the printouts to Sakura, but before I head back to my classroom, I find myself stopping.
さくら、最近はどう？はい、大丈夫。元気です。そう。シンジがまた何かやったら言いなさい。あいつはどってものを知らないから、黙っていると悪化する一方よ。心配いりませんよ しいんですから。
There isn't much I can say to a smile like that. We say our farewells again, and I leave my underclassmen acquaintance. The school day is over. The classroom is steadily empty, and the campus darkens by the hour. The crimson sun will set soon. Once night falls, there won't be anyone left around.
始めるわよ、アーチャー。まずは結界の下調べ。どんな結界かを調べてから消すか残すか決めましょう。
I speak to my invisible partner. I feel a nod in acknowledgement. Bounded fields are meant to protect their casters. You can consider them a terrain-based magecraft formed by weaving magical energy into a net and applying it to the earth to affect the inside of the field. There are countless types of effects they can have, ranging from wars that isolate an area from the outside world to avoid detection, to fields that limit a type of magecraft that can be activated within. The most offensive type suppresses biological function inside the area of effect.
It's time to drink water.
It's time to drink water?
It's time to drink water.
And that's what's been applied to the school grounds. While it isn't finished, everyone in the school will collapse once it's activated. Something like that wouldn't work on me, though. Bounded fields are, after all, targeted at the area I'm in, not me specifically. Such indirect magical interference won't affect the mage with magical energy flowing through her body. Similarly, the electrical charges that flow in the atmosphere won't disturb the electrical currents within my body. That means the bounded field has some other purpose. Whoever it is that put this thing here isn't trying to defeat a master with it. I don't want to believe it, but they're targeting all the people within the school. There's only one possible reason for that. It's a thought I can't stomach. After checking all around campus, I finished my search on the roof. It's thoroughly dark outside now. The school gates shut at 6 p.m. and it's now 8 p.m. Archer and I are the only ones left, and Archer is in a spirit form.
これで7つ目か。とりあえずここが起点みたいね。
Ooh. There are 8 symbols boldly drawn on the rooftop. They're purplish red marks that only a mage can see. I've never seen or heard of sigils like these.
参ったな。これ私の手には負えない。
Whoever set up this bounded field did it recklessly. But while impudent, the magical working itself is an order of magnitude beyond my own skills. I could temporarily erase the energy of the curse, but I have no way to spell the bounded field itself. All the spellcaster needs to do is supply with more energy to reactivate the curse's effects. Archer doesn't comment. He's probably remained silent since encountering the rooftop sigils because he's too realized their nature. This bounded field does more than drain its victim's stamina. It will literally melt everyone inside once it's turned on. There are bounded fields which rob victims of their life force and spiritual energy, but a spell that's been applied to the school grounds is on a whole different level. This is no less than a Soul Eater, a blood fort which melts the human bodies inside and forcibly collects the souls that ooze out. Since antiquity, souls have always been difficult to handle. They're theorized to exist and are considered to be necessary components of magecraft, but only one mage has ever proven their existence. Our definition of soul stops at that which examines within, and that which is transferred between vessels. You know, Broa kind of mentioned there? To not only extract souls, but to capture in one place, it defies comprehension. What's a mage supposed to do with a bunch of energy we can't even convert? So if I had to think of a purpose for it,
アーチャー、あなたたちってそういうもの？
it comes out colder than I intended.
ご推察の通りだ。我々は基本的に霊体だと言っただろう。故に食事は第二ないし第三要素となる。君たちが肉を得ようとするように、サーバントは精神と魂を得ようとする。栄養を取ったところで基本的な能力は変わらないが、取り入れれば取り入れるほどタフになる。つまり魔力の貯蔵量が上がっていくというわけだ。
He's right. The way to make your own servants stronger is to indiscriminately attack human beings.
マスターから提供される魔力だけじゃ足りないってこと？
足りなくはないが大いに越したことはない。実力が劣る場合、弱点を武士で補うのが戦争だろう。周囲の人間からエネルギーを奪うのはマスターとしては基本的な戦略だ。そういった意味で言えばこの結界は効率がいい。
Archer's saying that I should murder people and take their power if I want to win. It's so simple. I've always known this to be true, but I know it's the path I'm supposed to walk.
それ勘に触るわ。二度と口にしないで、アーチャー。
Staring at the sigils, I make my stance clear. Oddly, Archer sounds just as put off.
同感だ。私も真似をするつもりはない。
His answer comes firm and resolute.
さて、それじゃ消そうか。無駄だろうけど、とりあえず邪魔をするぐらいにはなる。
I approached the sigil and extended my left hand. The magic crest engraved on my arm is like a grimoire passed down through the Tosaka line. A mental switch is flicked. I pass magical energy through the magic crest, load a verse of Bounded Field Erasure, take a deep breath, and activate it. I then send a pulse of magic energy via my left hand. That should wash away the sigil for now. Uh-oh. Suddenly, a third voice chimes in while I'm casting the spell. I whirl around. Ooh, ooh, ooh! Dude got his own little camera angle going up to him. But yeah, it's Blue Boy. We got Red Man. We got Blue Boy over here. A man is perched on top of the water tower, some 10 meters above, looking down at me. He's clad in a deep blue that blends into the night. His mouth is drawn into a grin, and he has a bestial air about him. The beast's gaze is sharp and clear. In this bizarre situation, the man in blue watched me if he's greeting a friend he hasn't seen in a decade.
これ、あなたの仕業？
いや、小細工を浪するのは魔術師の役割だ。俺たちはただ命じられたまま戦うのみ。だろ？そこの兄さんよ。
His tone is lethal yet carefree. This man can see Archer.
やっぱりサーバント。
そうとも。で、それがわかるお嬢ちゃんは俺の敵ってことでいいのかな？
My spine tenses. The man's voice is detached and nonchalant, but it's colder than anyone ever heard. So scary it's nauseating. What's the best move here? I don't know. My brain is still working enough to tell me that I absolutely must not fight him.
ほう、大したもんだ。何もわからねえようで要点は抑えてやがる。ああ、失敗したなこりゃ。面白がって声をかけるんじゃなかったぜ。
The man raises an arm. It appears in a flash. His once empty hand now holds. Oh yeah, baby. A scarlet 2-meter long weapon. My legs throw me to the side before I can think. There isn't time to even hesitate about jumping off the roof. With all my might, I make a mad dash for the fence, and taking the barrel right through it. Oh! A cyclone lifts my hair into the air. It was by the skin of my teeth. In that instant, something sliced through the space I was just in, tearing the fence apart with it. A blue whirlwind pursues me. There's no way out. The fence is behind me. My flanks are cut off. I won't make it. I react swiftly. My magic crest surges alive so I can weave a single count magecraft. The spell lightens mass manipulates gravity. Light as a feather, my body bounds into the air. And I jump over the fence to plummet off the roof. Woo. Air resistance to gravity push and pull along my body. About 15 meters to the ground, 1.7 seconds away. Too slow, he's going to catch up to me.
アーチャー着地任せた。
Whoop. I let Archer absorb the shock of the landing and break into a dash as soon as we touched down. I couldn't stay on that rooftop. We need a less cramped arena from which to maneuver freely. A battlefield without obstacles, where Archer and I can truly shine. It takes me less than 7 seconds to escape from the roof to the schoolyard. A distance over 100 meters crossed at a pace no normal person can manage, much less clearly see. And yet... Hey.
本気でいいやしな。ここで仕留めるのはいささかもったいなさすぎるか。
Against the servant, it's a wasted effort.
アーチャー
Oh. At the same time I draw back, Archer materializes before me. It's a cloudy night. Archer's hand grips a short sword that faintly reflects the moonlight.
へえ。
The man's lips twist into an ominous sneer.
いいね。そう来なくっちゃ。話が早いやつは嫌いじゃない。
The whirlwind howls. It's the weapon he swung at me on the rooftop. A spear of blood-like crimson that came mercilessly for my head.
ダンサーのサーバント。
いかにも、そういうあんたのサーバントはセイバー。って感じじゃねえな。何者だ、てめえ。
Gone is his carefree ease from a moment ago. Archer stays silent, facing off against Lance's unconcealed bloodlust. There's just under 5 meters between them. Lance's weapon is nearly 2 meters long. It doesn't feel like this beast of a man is going to be deterred by a mere 3-meter difference.
まっとうな一騎打ちをするタイプじゃねえな、てめえは。ってことは、アーチャーか。
Archer doesn't take the bait. An unusual clash of blue and red stare each other down. The two knights, somewhat similarly dressed, mutually calculate the other's demise.
いいぜ。好みじゃねえが、出会ったからにはやるだけだ。そら、獲物を出せよ、アーチャー。これでも礼はわきまえているからな。それぐらいは待ってやる。
Archer doesn't answer. His back, as steely as a sword, seems to convey that. He must not have anything to say to someone he must defeat. That's when I realize it. I'm such a fool. Archer was waiting for my word.
アーチャー
I call out to him without getting any closer.
手助けはしないわ。あなたの力、ここで見せて。
Was that a laugh? The Red Knight surges forward, his lips curled in response. Wind swirls. A scarlet bullet flies forth, blade in hand. A blue spear thrust intercepts him. The charging Archer's gust of wind and a spear tip that rises to meet him is a divine storm. The boys are fighting. Streaking blades, elegant parries. Archer's put on the defensive, fending off the swift thrust with his short sword. The man in red stopped in his tracks. He's advanced to 9 by the enemy. Can't even breach the 2-meter coverage of the spear. The polearm wielder can control his opponent's range. Lancer, with his nearly 2-meter reach, needs to simply engage his foe whenever he comes within range. It's easy for him to stab an advancing opponent than it is for him to go after Archer himself. Despite this, Lancer closed the distance himself to press the attack, all the while keeping Archer from advancing further.
たわけ。旧兵風情が接近戦を挑んだら。
Lancer's snarl is fiery. With each thrust, Lancer closes in, the assault never letting up for a second. Moving in too close is suicide for a spear wielder. The advantage of a spear is the ability to control the enemy's position. Lancer shouldn't have a chance if he keeps closing in. But that's only according to conventional wisdom. Unerringly, unceasingly, Lancer's spear seeks to pierce Archer's throat, shoulder, forehead, heart. The strikes are too swift to even leave an afterimage. Archer is forced to parry, block, or evade every move of the spear. Any strike, if true, would be a mortal blow. Still, Archer's a servant. Even if he specialized with the bow, he won't be brought down so easily by mundane attacks. The thrust of his sword is quickly batted aside, and Archer renews his charge in spite of Lancer's spear. One might think that swordplay is all there is to Archer's attacks, but he's exploiting weakness of spear tactics. Against the spear's considerable reach, neither retreat nor evasion are viable defenses for long. A half-hearted withdrawal is enough to get out of range, while probing attacks will lead to evisceration. A reckless charge will summarily end an impalement at the edge of the spear's range. Archer and Lancer have more or less the same physical stature. Without heavy armor, it's difficult for Archer to penetrate the lethal storm of Lancer's attack radius. But Lancer's strikes are a different story. The high-speed thrusts intended to pierce vital points are indeed terrifying, but each strike has a set trajectory and target. If one can predict this, then there are ways to avoid harm. Just as Archer is doing, one can block the strikes aimed at vital points or just barely evade their arcs to create safe openings. Lancer probably underestimated him as a ranged specialist. The advantage of a long weapon is the generous range at which one can engage the opponent. By giving that up, Lancer has assured his... Oh. Oh, all the stands in this are so fucking funny. The man in red stops in his tracks. I watch a nightmare unfold as if time has rewinded. Lancer attacks become even faster than before. Archer's short sword is knocked aside as he twists to avoid being skewered. Lancer's spear doesn't allow retreat. Or rather, his endless attacks are so fierce and sharp that even servants are doomed against them. We were the ones who underestimated our enemy. That servant, that lance and a spear can't be described in mundane martial terms. Who could possibly survive such a relentless barrage? Archer beats a desperate retreat while parrying strikes, creating slightly more distance between the fighters. In that moment, Lancer steps into the gap and unleashes an even more ferocious attack. The storm of attacks is a little different from what he's already been doing, but their execution is truly godlike. They've already clashed 10 times. No, it's actually several times more than that. The torrent of spear strikes increases again in intensity and number, threatening to take Archer's life 1,000 times over. There isn't even a change in speed, but in precision. At a steady pace, Lancer's spear comes down on Archer like a waterfall. How can Archer get inside his guard? With such a short weapon, all he can do is defend against the spear. He has no way to close in on Lancer. In fact, he's being forced backwards. The steel vacuum stretches out. I should be backing Archer up, but the right words die in my throat. My magecraft doesn't need to aim precisely. I risk hitting Archer too if he can't get far away enough from Lancer. Meanwhile, Lancer's advantage will only deepen. And to be honest, I'm captivated by their duel. So this is a battle between servants. The Holy Grail War is a battle between familiars of the highest order. Heroic spirits, beings that we mages can't begin to approach. Servants. Familiars divided among 7 classes and roles, serving 7 masters. Supreme familiars called forth by the Holy Grail itself. Familiars are really a misnomer for them. Familiars are supposed to be subservient minions who act on behalf of a mage. Normally, imagine something like Puss in Boots, an elegant white bird, or this obedient black dog, something like that. Those sorts of familiars are what a typical mage can manage to command. Familiars are just that, from the Latin for menial servant. It's inconceivable that a mascot used for menial labor would be stronger than its master. Servants are a different story. They're quite literally the most powerful examples of humanity. Even the 5 magicians will be able to control them. It's civil to summon servant, but not because servants are more powerful than mages. Servants are beings of the past magecraft itself. To be clear, servants are heroes of the past. Myths, legends, fables, histories. We call the glorious superhumans from our traditions heroes, whether the tales are true or not. Immortalized by what humanity says about them, they cease to be merely human after death and ascend to something greater. People who work miracles, who save the multitudes, who accomplish great feats, are elevated to the statues of heroes, either in life or after death. Or in this case, yeah, because yeah, they're mentioning like, yeah, they're based off past figures, but they account for like fictional ones as well. So it's like even stuff from the past is also like, they just become real in this extent a little bit. I think it's fascinating. They become a type of elemental we call heroic spirits, guardians of the human race. It doesn't matter whether they were historical people or characters from mythology, yeah. Heroes are created by the thoughts of the people. We imagine them as the idols we wish they were and treat them as if they were real. Objective truth is irrelevant. Fame and faith are sufficient to give the form to these legends. They're humanity's ultimate ideals, the greatest among us. That's what it means to be hero and a heroic spirit. Naturally, it's impossible for a mere human to control something greater than human. What mages usually do is borrow a portion of their power and imitate their feats. Summoning complete heroic spirit is simply impossible. Yet the Holy Grail makes it possible. It allows us to summon these spirits in the flesh and even bind them to our command. The sheer absurdity of it proves the Grail's omnipotence. That's how heroic spirits are summoned from across time, whether from the age of gods or as recent as a century ago. The 7 heroic spirits serve and protect their 7 masters, and each master sends their servants out to defeat enemy masters. It's a death match between heroes of every age and every land. That's the story behind the ritual we call the Holy Grail War. Of course, there are limits to what the Grail can do. Even the Holy Grail can indiscriminately summon mythic beings akin to elementals. This is a form created by the peoples required to materialize the 6th theoretical factor known as demons. Heroic spirits need a material form to operate in this world. This is their temporary label, and the way they are allowed to exist in this world. The Holy Grail provides vessels that heroic spirits can easily materialize in, called classes, and only heroic spirits that fit these classes can be summoned. A class is like a passport that lets a heroic spirit visit the modern era to act as a familiar. It's a material vessel that they temporarily possess. There are 7 masters and 7 heroic spirits to serve them. Each is assigned one of 7 classes. Saber, the Knight of the Sword. Lancer, the Knight of the Spear. Archer, the Knight of the Bow. Rider, the Cavalier. Caster, the Mage. Assassin, the Silent Killer. And Berserker, the Mad Warrior. Tag yourself, I'm probably Berserker a little bit. Or Assassin Rider, maybe. Only heroic spirits with attributes corresponding to the 7 classes can be summoned to the modern world, and they become servants whom the Master's command. That's the servant system. Humans summon to make contact with heroic spirits beyond their ability to handle, all in hopes of winning a miracle beyond our kin. It's the greatest of battles that can only happen here in this land, like no other Holy Grail war. The duel reaches an even higher pitch. The short sword goes flying from Archer's hand after blocking one of Lancer's strikes. Lancer's skill is Consume It. A seemingly straight thrust suddenly whipped into a disarming act at Archer's wrist. It was an attack that Archer couldn't have avoided, even if he saw it coming. There is an effective way to parry the spear with a sword. A forceful block is countered with an even keener strike, while defending with minimal force will never create an opening to exploit. The clash between sword and spears is shaping up to an intense struggle to defeat an enemy outside of Archer's reach. There's no hesitation in Lancer, even as he taunts Archer. He pauses from the constant pressure he puts on Archer. Does he intend to settle the duel in an instant? Lancer takes a firmly rooted stance, trading a fiery glaze. Alright, glare rather not glaze. With the now unarmed Archer. It happens in an instant. In the span of a breath, Lancer loses a flurry of blows that's no less than a flash of light. Imperceptible. Forehead, neck, and heart. The spear moves to skewer all three. And yet, another flash of light counters the first that I couldn't even follow. Archer's hand grabs a short sword once more. Like the weapon he used earlier, it's a Chinese sword not dissimilar to a cleaver. But the greatest difference between them is... Dude. Dual wield! Blade and blade. In each hand he grips a sword, each clearly meant to complement the other. The Lancer's spear sings through the air. Oh, hell yeah, dude. It becomes even faster, as if to herald Archer's certain death. The duel becomes a symphony of clashing blades. Two steel instruments play a resounding chorus. The sparks of their conflict rise to a never-ending crescendo. Their battle is like a vacuum. It sucks in all the air around it, make me feel like I'll be cut if I even dare to approach. It all happened in instants, really. As I watched with bated breath, the moments seemed to stretch on. Lancer keeps his foe out of his fatal pocket, while Archer attempts to close the gap with a shield of dual swords. They've clashed over 100 times already, Archer losing a weapon each time. But instantly another sword appears in Archer's empty hand, and Lancer is simply driven back each time. Lancer finally acknowledges his miscalculation. He has no idea who he's fighting, but it would be a mistake to keep dismissing his opponent as a bowman. Or bowman, rather, fucking. A space opens up between them. Lancer puts significant distance between them. Maybe it tends to start over. That agility is normal. Archer's charge defies human ability, but he's sluggish next to Lancer. The swiftness of Lancer's retreat had the speed and grace of a leopard.
27それだけ弾き飛ばしてもまだあるとはな
Lancer sounds irritated. Actually, he sounds more confused than upset. I feel the same way. According to my father, servants typically only have one weapon. They're supposed to be singular relics of unimaginable power, not expendable items to be drawn over and over like Archer's doing. Servants are heroes whose spiritual rank are elevated to the magnitude of elementals or divine spirits after death. In a way, they're not unlike angels and demons. They're powerful familiars on their own, but their greatest strength is the mighty weapons they prove they're heroes. We call these magic items noble phantasms. They are the favored weapon or armor that a servant used while he was a living hero, and it's literally the servant's secret weapon. To a servant, a noble phantasm is a one-of-a-kind armament. It's the servant's indispensable ultimate weapon as well. The same goes for Lancer's spear. It can exhibit its powers on a noble phantasm if he so chooses. A noble phantasm is a formidable weapon on its own, but its true power is expressed by invoking its true name. Heroes' weapons are known to have slain dragons and gods, to have conquered the earth. Servants activate noble phantasms with their own magical energy. Sounded like magecraft, actually. Servants use their noble phantasms as catalysts to recreate destruction from their legends. A noble phantasm is certainly not a disposable tool. Archer produced dozens of swords by now. Each seems like a masterwork unto itself, but he surely can't be his noble phantasm. He's an archer, after all. His secret must be some kind of bow.
どうしたランサー様子見とは君らしくないな先ほどの勢いはどこに行った
しタヌキ減らず口を叩きやがるか
The cause of Lance's irritation is obvious. Lance has been fighting as a spearman, while Arch has been fending him off as a swordsman. Meaning that Arch hasn't revealed his cards yet. That must be frustrating to deal with.
いいぜ聞いてやるよてめえどこの英雄だ二等使いの旧兵なぞ聞いたことがない
そういう君は分かりやすいな 総兵には最速の英雄が選ばれるというが、君はその中でもえりすぐりだ。これほどの宗師は世界に3人といまい。加えて獣のごとき敏捷さといえばおそらく1人。
ほう、よく言ったアーチャー。
For a moment, the bloodlust is so strong I forgot to breathe. Oh. Lancer's arms move. It's a deliberate stance without any of the nonchalance he's shown thus far. His spear tip dips as if to puncture the ground, but Lancer's eyes bore straight through Archer.
ならば食らうか。我が必殺の一撃を。
止めはしない。いずれ越えねばならぬ敵だ。
Lancer lowers his stance. Simultaneously, a thorny bitter cold overtakes the schoolyard. The air freezes. I don't mean that metaphorically. It's literally ice cold. All the men in the atmosphere freezes solid.
It's time to drink water.
Oh, time to drink water?
It's time to drink water.
Only the warrior Lancer is allowed to breathe in this space. The spear in Lancer's hand is undoubtedly magical. Its true form eager to burst forth. Oh no. He's going to die. I don't know what kind of noble phantasm it is, but Archer's finished. It's the first time I've had this kind of premonition, and hard as to believe, I don't doubt it for a second. If Lancer unleashes a spear, Archer will die. That's absolutely certain. As Lancer says, a spear means death. Archer will lose. Lancer will stab him through the heart, and he'll die. Despite that, despite these premonitions, despite this insight, I can't even help Archer. I feel like if I so much as lift a finger, it'll signal the beginning of the end. If there's a way to prevent Archer's defeat, then it can only be... The sudden appears a third party whom we've all overlooked. Lancer's ferocity disappears. I hear the sound of someone running away. From behind, I can clearly make out a school uniform.
生徒まだ学校に残ってたの？
そのようだな。おかげで命拾いしたが。
Archer answers coolly. Sure enough, the interruption did save our skin.
失敗した。ランさんに気を取られて周りの気配に気づかなかった。で、アーチャー、あんた何してんの？
見てわからないか。手が空いたから休んでいる。
んなわけないでしょ。ランさんはどうしたのよ。
さっきの人影を追ったよ。目撃者だからな。おそらく消しに行ったのだろう。
For a moment, my thoughts grind to a halt.
追ってアーチャー。私もすぐに追いつくから。
Archer pursues Lancer immediately.
くそ、なんて間抜け。
I curse my own negligence. It's standard mage policy to eliminate witnesses. Until now, I've been careful not to allow anyone to see me as a mage to avoid that scenario. Why did it have to happen today of all days? The night feels oppressive, not letting even the moonlight through. I find Archer standing over the body of a student collapsed on the floor of a terribly cold hallway. He looks wordlessly down at the student. An odor reaches my nose. The sight of slowly pooling blood makes me realize that it's the smell of death.
追ってアーチャー。ランサーはマスターのところに戻るはず。せめて相手の顔ぐらい把握しないと割が合わない。
Archer goes off after Lancer. Only the fallen student and I remain at the corridor. I can't look him in the eye, but I have to. This is my fault. This is my fault. This is my fault. Since I was young, since I made up my mind to inherit the Tosaka legacy, I've been prepared for this. Mages aren't governed by good or evil. I've known all along that this path will be a bloody one.
ランサーの槍で一突きか。心臓やられてちゃ助からない。
I don't know how many seconds ago Lancer killed him. It's just a matter of whether he was unlucky enough to get stabbed through the heart. The blood loss isn't as bad as I would expect for a destroyed heart, so maybe the injury isn't too deep. It may not be too bad, but he's still screwed if blood has been cut off to his brain. Though, yeah, if his heart was wrecked, then he would have died instantly.
その割にはまだ死んでないってのはすごいな。
It's hard to hear, but just barely. My ears pick up faint breathing that might be a death rattle. But it won't last more than a few seconds. I don't have the power to save him. I don't even have a way to heal my own wounds.
顔を見ないと。それぐらいはしなくちゃ。
I start to reach for the face of the prone figure, when I realize my fingers won't move. They're shaking. But why? I'm used to this. I made this choice countless times. I've lost so much thanks to my own mistakes, my own selfishness. That's why I've always been ready for this day to come. Then, why am I so angry at myself?
ごめんね。見とるぐらいはしてあげる。
I use cold logic to still my trembling fingers and legs, and check the fallen student's face. A great weight falls onto me. I feel like I've just been struck by a hammer.
やめてよね。なんだってあんたが。
I grind my teeth, no longer to brace myself against the shaking, because I'm truly angry. Why did it have to be him? Why him especially? I'm not some Lance for silencing witness, as a servant should. But at school today of all days, at this hour? You fool, why would you of all people? Sakura's face comes to mind. I'm sure she'll cry. And I find myself recalling a day after school some years ago. The sky glowed a distant red. A boy that always ran, and a silly little girl watched him absently from afar. That boy got involved in something he shouldn't have, and now his corpse is in front of me. There's still a way. If I fail, I might lose my trump card, but there's a way to save him. No, I'll lose it whether this works or not, so the outcome is the same to me. This is a mistake. His impending death is a foregone conclusion. It's my fault for not paying enough attention to what was happening around me. And his fault for having the dumb luck to be here tonight. There's no need for me to go this far for him. My father, who left me with nothing to remember him by, did in fact leave me this heirloom to help me. It's a massive store of magical energy meant to be a trump card that helps me win this war. A precious, precious treasure just for...
だからなんだってのよ、バカ。
I turn back and kneel by the dying boy. The pen in my hand gets lighter. My father's keepsake is nearly empty. With a clink, I drop it on the guy who was a second away from becoming a corpse.
まあ、仕方ないか。
There really was no other way. I don't have the power or skill to bring someone back to life. Especially not someone with a destroyed heart, damaged blood vessels, and brain death mere seconds away. All I can do is patch up his missing parts with brute force.
まだ息があるのが運の尽きだった。完全に死んでいたら、どんなに魔力の蓄えがあっても蘇生なんてできなかったし。
But if he's still alive, then I just need to help him the best I can.
失敗してたら目も当てられなかったけど、成功したからいっか。ええ、正直に言えば充実感あるしね。こういう経験も悪くはなかったわ。
Though really, I'm lying to myself.
行こう。済んだことは済んだこと。こいつが目を覚ます前に帰らないと。
Yeah, there isn't any point hanging around. Archer's off tailing Lancer, so I should just go home. On the way home, I remember I left my father's memento at school, but now it's just a pendant with all of its magic energy wrung dry.
もういいか。
I don't suppose I need it anymore. It might have a little bit of energy left in it, but it's less than the 10 gemstones I'm carrying. What Father wanted was for me to have enough magic energy to win the Holy Grail War. Now that I've used that resource up, its container doesn't mean much. I arrive home without announcing my return and plop down on the sofa. Archer still isn't back yet. I heave a tired sigh and listen to the clock tick for a few minutes.
いい加減頭を切り替えなくちゃ。あれだけの戦いを経験しておいて何ほうけてるんだ私。
I jump to my feet and make some black tea. I have plenty to think about. The servant encounter most of all. I finally watched a battle between servants which, until today, I'd only known about through books.
ランサーか。宝具を使われそうになった時は焦ったけど、実際使ってたら正体は分かったのよね。
Learning a servant's identity is key to defeating a servant. With the exception of the idiot who doesn't know his own name, a servant's greatest weakness is their identity. Once you learn a servant's name and identity, then you can mostly deduce that heroic spirit's noble phantasm. It goes without saying that since servants are heroic spirits, they have legends associated with them. Unraveling their history can reveal a lot about their abilities. Masters judge servants by their class names to hide their true names. The more famous a hero, the more likely their weapons and weaknesses are to be known. You see Achilles in his famous heel a little bit, just like Strike there's like, oh, I'm dead. A heroic spirit who has become a servant will never willingly divulge their identity. That knowledge is reserved only for their master. There's a tacit understanding that a master conceals their own servant's identity while trying to figure out the identities of the other servants. Including this one, there have been 5 Holy Grail Wars thus far. Each servant's quality depends on the caliber of the summoned heroic spirit. Naturally, a famous hero, or one with a legendary weapon, is powerful. Accordingly, it's difficult to summon such heroic spirits. For that, a summoner needs a connection to the heroic spirit they're summoning, such as a weapon the hero wielded during their lifetime. Even the Mage Association, with all its resources, only has a few such items in its possession. That's why most mages, myself included, summon a heroic spirit whom we have affinity with. A servant's strength is determined by the caliber of the heroic spirit, or so the logic goes. But reality isn't so clear-cut. Even a superior heroic spirit might struggle when the classes in play are unfavorable. Class-specific abilities can have a large impact on the outcome of battle. Each of the 7 classes comes with additional abilities, and the interaction between these can allow one to triumph over a stronger opponent. To continue with the example, it's said that great heroes were defeated by lesser-known heroes in each of the previous 4 wars. As far as I know, the best servant class is Saber. Saber fought until the very end in each of the last 4 wars. Saber, Lancer, and Archer are said to have powerful magic resistance. Magecraft isn't effective against these 3 classes. After all, they're warriors from ages of myth and legend, when magic was still prevalent. Spells cast by modern mages would probably fizzle out on contact. That's why the first 3 classes are generally considered the most desirable. The other class to watch out for is Berserker. Heroic spirits summoned in this class lose their sanity. As the name suggests, they become crazed warriors and puppets of their masters, but are strengthened beyond the powers they had in life. It's also worth noting that the stronger the servant is, the greater its burden on its master. In the past, masters drew berserkers couldn't control their servants, and ultimately self-destructed due to running out of magical energy. No exceptions. In the vast majority of cases, Holy Grail Wars are won by the summoned servant's abilities. Of course, there are plenty of ways for masters to win battles, but it basically comes down to fighting between servants. That's why a master needs to commit the utmost diligence and effort to summoning a servant. Discontent, I decided to come up with projections for the battles to come. Before long, it's 11 p.m. Yes, I fixed the clocks already. Archer comes home.
おかえりなさい。成果はどう？
すまない。失敗した。よほど用心深いマスターだったのだろう。少なくとも、こちら側の町にはランサーのマスターはいなかった。
Figures. Lancer was all alone, his master didn't seem like the type to show themselves.
そう。まあ、簡単にはいかないわよね。
Everything can't go according to plan. but there's no use worrying over it. I'll just give him a treat tonight as a learning experience.
覇気がないな、マスター。いつもの威勢はどうした？まさか、先の一戦でおじけづいたというのはなしだぞ。君が命じるのなら、今すぐにでもランサーとの再戦に赴いてもいい。
Archer doesn't say, but I can tell he thinks that's the right course of action. Oh, I must look pretty depressed right now, huh?
そんなわけないでしょ。私が打って出ないのはね、単に無駄手間をしたくないだけなんだから。
無駄手間をしたくない？
だってまだマスターの数が揃ってないでしょ。今夜のはやむなしだったけど、開戦の合図があるまで戦わないわ。それが聖杯戦争のルールだって父さんは言ってたし。
そうか。君の父親もマスターだったのか。
Archer nods in understanding. Actually, he's making a rather mixed expression.
何よ、何か言いたいことでもあるの？あんた。
ああ、一つ聞き忘れていた。リン。君は幼い頃からマスターになるべく育てられ、それに従ってきたのだろう。つまり、初めからマスターになることを予想していたわけだ。
当たり前じゃない。それはいきなりマスターに任命される魔術師もいるそうだけど、私は別よ。遠坂の人間にとって聖杯戦争は何代も前からの悲願なんだから。
そうだろう。なら目的が塔にあるはずだ。私はそれを聞き忘れていた。主の望みを知らなければ私も剣を預けられない。リン、それで君の願いは何だ？
願い？そんなの別にないけど。
何？
What? Aha! Archer's making a funny face.
そんなはずはあるまい。聖杯とは願いを叶える万能の杯だ。マスターになるということは聖杯を
Rin just be like, I don't know, man. Like fucking, I didn't think I'd get this far. A little bit.
どういうことだ？
Archer drops all pretense. Ah, right. Once the Holy Grail is won, the victorious master's wish has nothing to do with the servant. That's weird. Father mentioned the servants have their own wishes too, but that's their own business. It shouldn't matter to Archer whether or not I have a wish.
よし、明確な望みがないのであれば、漠然とした願いはどうだ？例えば、世界を手にするといった風な。
なんで？世界なんてとっくに私のものじゃない。あのね、あーちゃん。世界ってのはつまり自分を中心とした価値観でしょ。そんなものは生まれた時から私のものよ。そんな世界を支配しろって言うんなら、私はとっくに世界を支配している。
Archer looks at me with a strange expression. Man, he's stubborn.
バカな。聖杯とは望みを叶える力。現実の世界を手にできる力だぞ。それを求めるというのに何も望まないというのか、君は。
だって世界征服もめんどくさいし、そんな無駄なことを願っても仕方がないでしょ。
理解に苦しむな。それでは何のために戦う？
そこに戦いがあるからよ、はっちゃん。ついでにもらえるものはもらっておく。聖杯がなんだかは知らないけど、いずれ欲しいものができたら使えばいいだけでしょ。人間生きていれば欲しいものなんて限りないんだし。
つまり君は。
ええ、ただ勝つために戦うの、あっちゃん。
Archer sighs and shrugs. Maybe he's fed up with me, but he finally relaxes.
参った。確かに君は私のマスターにふさわしい。
I don't know how to respond to comments like that, so I wish he'd stop making them.
あ、サーバントにマスターを選ぶ権利はないけど、一応聞いとく。なんで私が。
言うまでもない。君は間違いなく最強のマスターだ。使える相手としてこれ以上のものはない。
そう、 ありがとう。あなたに言われるなら世辞ってわけじゃなさそうだし。
I turn away to hide my embarrassment. Archer usually acts like a smartass, so this sincerity is blindsiding me. Admittedly, I'm happy he feels this way. I've come to trust him, and he's come to trust me. I don't think this mutual sentiment is a bad thing.
さて、ならば一息入れようか。7人目のマスターが現れるにせよ、それは今すぐというわけでも。ちょっと待て、リン。君、あの飾りはどうした？
飾りってペンダントのこと？ああ、あれなら忘れてきちゃった。もう何の力もないものだし、別に必要ないでしょ。
それはそうだが、君がそう言うならいいが。
ええ、父さんの形見だけど、別に思い出はあれだけってわけじゃない。
よくはない。そこまで強くあることはないだろう、リン。
As he nags me, Archer holds out the pendant I left at school.
拾いに行ってくれたんだ、あーちゃん。
もう忘れるな。それはリンにしか似合わない。
Archer avoids eye contact as he passes the pendant to me, looking almost bashful.
じゃあ、ありがとう。
I accept it. To be honest, I'm not sure whether to be embarrassed or play it off right now. The pendant is as I left it. As I thought, it really doesn't have any energy left. It's just an expensive jewel now that it's empty. But to put in Archer's terms, maybe it still has meaning as a memento of my father, even without its power. I suppose I can laugh this off as a net win, since I spent my trump card to save someone's life.
って待った。
I jolt up in my seat. I wasn't thinking straight while I lamented what I lost, but as I pull myself together, it strikes me. He saw, so I should ought to alter his memories. Meanwhile, Lance prioritized eliminating witnesses over fighting us. Lance's things should reflect that of his master. Which means, if a master who went out of their way to kill a witness finds out that he survived...
そんなやつ、生かしておかない。
I stand up from the sofa. It's already been 3 hours. Might not make it in time. I can't let this happen. Not after all the trouble I went through. I sprint through the night. Fortunately, I know where he lives. Not because I bothered to find out, but because someone I happen to know goes over to this place often. I've never been there personally.
まったく、余計な苦労を背負おうとしているぞ、君は。
Archer grabs unenthusiastically. It's going to be as much of a struggle to rescue the guy now as it was to save him earlier. It's midnight. The sky is shrouded in clouds. I arrive at an old samurai estate. The building closest to the outside shows no signs of life. There aren't many neighboring houses, so it's unlikely anyone would come even if they noticed something was amiss. My breath mist white. The wind picks up. It must be pretty strong because the clouds are starting to move. I find myself trembling despite the temperature of Fuyuki weather, and a chill runs down my spine. People call Fuyuki a warm place, but you can feel the winter chill from the hilltops. The air is bitingly cold. The chill presses in and makes it hard to hear. In the midst of this air that seems conquered by the cold, I keenly sense the enemy.
いる、さっきのサーバント。
I bite my lip. Something's on the other side of the outer wall. Lance must have already infiltrated the house, waiting for its witless owner to come home to his death.
飛び越えて倒すしかない。その後のことはその時に考える。
Just as I'm about to order Archer to go in. Oh. A flash. From the house emerges a radiant white light bright as the sun. Its presence is all-consuming. The power radiating from Lancer is being washed away by the newcomer's even greater aura. An instantaneous explosion of ether gives the spirit physical form, and the summoned being overpowers Lancer.
嘘。
All I can do is whisper in awe, but the truth is staring me in the face. As if to prove the point, Lancer bounds over the wall, fleeing the compound.
ねえ、アーチ
Like, bitch, no, I'm not dealing with this.
これももしもの話。
さあな。だがこれで7人。ついに数が揃ったぞ。リン。
Archer is calm. Meanwhile, my rational thought goes flying out the window. What happens next should have been obvious, but I'm not thinking straight. There's a strong gust of wind. The clouds cover the sky like an umbrella. Darkness shrouds the lightless outskirts of the town. A servant leaps over the wall and lands gracefully, like an unworldly bird. Archer reacts. I feel even twitch in response. That's my fault. The fight ends before even a second passes. 1 second might be a brief instant to me, but it's a massive opening to a servant. A bladed wind closes in on me. Oh, ow! Archer lunges in front of me, while the servant cuts him deeply. It really was just an instant. Is Archer, who so gracefully fended off Lancer's brutal assault, going down in one hit? I made it in time. Before the servant's next strike takes off Archer's head, I force him to retreat. Pain throbs in my right hand, because it was such an extreme order used of one of my command spells. Now I only have one left, but this was for the best. It's worth losing a command spell or two to make sure Archer doesn't die. Without skipping a beat, the servant comes for me next. I pull out a wood imbued topaz and feed magic energy directly into it without any extra steps. It's a cluster of wind spells that I've been feeding into it day after day, and they're enough to blow away a house or two without leaving a trace. This is one of 10 jewels I've been building up for the last 17 years, without skipping a single day. And if I can't beat this thing with it, it should be enough to slow... Or not. It didn't work at all! The moment it touches servant, what ought to have been a tempest that would hoe apart anything in its path disappears like a simple stage magic trick. What terrifying magic resistance. Are you telling me that a mage doesn't have enough magic energy to hurt this servant? Oh no. My magecraft doesn't work and I've lost Archer's protection. I have no way to stop this servant. If I barely manage to dodge the first attack, I'm finished. I look up at the night sky. In it I imagine a ruthless reaper coming for me, sprawled pitifully on the ground. Save me, Moon. Save me, woman. That's going to kill me. The wind blows. Through a break in the clouds, the moon peeks out through the spiral-like sky. The moonlight highlights her elegant profile. So this is the face of the servant who drove off Lancer, took down my archer in one blow, and shrugged off my magecraft like it was nothing. The girl's voice rings clear like a bell, yet her voice is the stuff of nightmares at this moment. The sword she's thrust at me seems to shine. I know that this is my dying moment. One glance enough to figure that out. This is the card I wish to draw. The sword-wielding hero said to be the most powerful servant. I look up at the moon, prepared to die. There's no room to beg for my life, no time to escape. With my death, Rin Tosaka's Holy Grail War will have ended on the third day. You'd think I'd go out hating my foe, feeling nothing but shame and regret. But I don't feel that way at all. Something's seriously wrong with me. I'm one moment away from certain death, and here I am, entranced by my killer. Yeah, it's frustrating to be sure, but there's nothing I can do now. The strongest servant is going to kill me. She looks all at once heartless, utterly noble, and so very beautiful. Oh, that's a mute. If I prepped this, I would have music play along with this, but... But yeah, now we're at the actual beginning here. We got the UFO table animation again here and stuff. I wonder if this is unique for the remaster, actually. It's probably not unique. But I think this is UFO table, which is like, they are the Fate animators a little bit for the most part. Well, yeah, there we go. That was the prologue, everyone. That was the prologue that So I have like a sort of like a weird entry history with Fate in general. I've known about it since high school, like a dozen years ago by this point, stuff like that. It is like hard to like phrase just how big this series would become and later on in life, all thanks to Little Gotcha Game a little bit. Because holy shit. Because yeah, back then, because yeah, I had like the manga for this that I read at one point and shit like that, like the first volume anyway. Because I feel like going off osmosis and be like, yo, this is a cool title here and shit like that. I feel like this looks kind of neat or whatever and shit. And I've seen another, like, just from other, like, in my big old anime phase back then and shit, you know? Just want to learn more about it and stuff like that. Yeah, in general, like, even though it is very, like, I'm going to, like, put on the audio back on since they're good. Yeah, now at the title screen, everyone. Oh my god. Yeah, look at that. Dude, I just want a new game here. I want to load. I'm like, fuck. But hey, at least we got this faster than freaking Tsukihime Remake, because oh my god. So yeah, now we can. This is like part 0 in a way, and part 1 begins next time a little bit. Because yeah, I'm probably going to go and end it here. And just prep this up for next time here and stuff like that, but yeah, no, yeah, it's been a little bit of this little nostalgic throwback here in a way and shit where because yeah, Fate Stay Night specifically, I know bits and pieces about here and there and shit like that during like my big phase of trying to get into Fate Grand Order alongside Grand Blue. At the time, those were like the 2 big gacha things I was trying out and shit, you know, so I had to at least know some bit of like the prior Fate IP and shit like that beforehand and stuff, you know. Play like Fate Extra and shit like that. And partially why we're doing the stream is to stream that at some point later, so because I think that'd be funny. But you know, as far as Fate Stay Night goes, yeah, I've been familiar with this. Is without that like probably the first Type Moon work that I experienced to some degree and stuff like that. Very minimal degree and shit back then and stuff, but still, it's still something I remember like being like, this is a thing actually. And shit. A thing that I didn't realize would get this huge later on in its life, because oh my god. But a thing nonetheless, and it's a thing I'm kind of looking forward to and shit like that, because yeah, besides like maybe like watching a few bits of like both the Dean anime and the Unlimited Blade Works anime, as well as like a brief like mention of like a screenshot Let's Play I remember reading back then and shit, yeah, this is going to be my first time going through this in full, so... Oh yeah, oh my god, oh geez, oh boy. But yeah, we will do this next time, because we're pretty much at, like, the perfect stopping point, you know, so... So yeah. With all that said and done, that is going to be it for part 1. I'm proud... Yeah, for all intents and purposes, part 0, but just for labeling this part 1, so... So yeah, that's gonna be in for session 1 of Fate Stay Night Remaster. We will be back with more later on. So, with all that said and done, yeah, friends, guildmates, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, we'll probably do this again on Sunday. This will probably be sort of like our main playthrough for a little bit, as we on go for this a little bit, and shit. That being said, depending on how far we go or how long it goes, I'll probably sprinkle in like another thing to do off the side here and shit. But yeah, there's something I'm probably gonna be doing, binging, but just making this when we have stream days. I'm probably gonna stream this on those stream days, you know. So yeah, in which case we'll probably do this on Sunday. Why not Saturday, you might ask? Well, Saturday is that we'll probably do another Grand Blue Relink session, probably the final one, as we do pretty much like the post game super bosses a little bit, Defy Infinity and all that stuff. So, so look forward to that. Look forward to that. I want to do that tomorrow, so we're probably gonna do that tomorrow. But yeah, until then, yeah, weird thing with this like this remaster when you're full screen here is like when I tap out, like it mutes the audio. It's like fuck. Well, I guess I could just like replay this then. Hold on a minute. Get the Akatsuki theme back in here from Under Night. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, we will continue this again on Sunday most likely. Maybe again on Monday, depending how work goes. A little bit of shit like that. I do have like Monday is gonna be a little bit tumultuous one. There's still like one more shift where I'm just like, oh god. But after that, we should be good for like a little bit. And shit, we're just I can stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Fates tonight, next session, Sunday probably at most. Stay tuned for tomorrow where Grand Blue Relink. We're gonna be doing the super bosses, Defy Infinity, and all that stuff. Oh boy, I could be free a little bit. But until then, I have been your host, Laguo Jadeheart, your favorite little fishman VTuber. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves a good one. How do I do the pose again? Hold on a minute, fucking my buttons aren't working. Oh god. Oh yeah, I think I just only have this. That's right. I thought I had the back pose. No, I don't. And take care. I will see you guys next time. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.